You didn't even finish your lasagna. What are you doing, hon?
Start trimming anyways.
Just asking.
Hey. Reach new audiences with collabs.
Nah. Nah. I don't feel like it.
We'll get there ourselves someday.
Someday. Over the rainbow. Way up high.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Sad things happened, that right? We found out Satoshi went missing and no one knows where he went. He just vanished out of thin air. 1983. Hey! It's current! Hooray!
I keep forgetting that this game took place in the 80s.
Yeah. Fourth year of the series, mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa known as Oshiro-sama's curse, after Satoshi Hojo's disappearance. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okiyamiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job in my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. I ended up living with my parents after all, so I didn't have to pay for living expenses. It felt great to get to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still used the room Kasai set up for me from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents. In fact, I was planning to spend a day there today. Damn that teacher! She told my parents that I was skipping classes! My dad got upset, and that's why I didn't want to stay at home. I had been asking for it, though. My teachers should know that my dad is a Yakuza, and that he gets really scary when he's mad. On the whole, my life had been going well so far, except that it was boring. The reason I could enjoy this lifestyle is probably because I had to live in secret before. It was a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Well, that might have been a valuable experience. I think I learned from it.
What would you learn from living in secret?
Lying sucks, and trying to pretend to be someone you're not also sucks. I was going to grocery shopping, and I thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes. Sure, Shion, sure. Oh, wait. Isn't there 100 yen to sell today? Yeah, there is! I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood. I spun around with my arms spread out. I felt like I was inside a little whirlwind. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Ow. What the... Who parked this motorcycle here? I gave the motorcycle a kick with no hesitation. This feels familiar. There were 3 motorcycles lined up in a row. They all fell down like dominoes. This feels really familiar. It's beautiful and so much fun. Oh, this was odd. I felt like I'd gone through this exact same experience before. While blinking my eyes in an effort to recall when that was, some people grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley. It looked like these punks were the order of those motorcycles. They started shouting at me. This really was strange. I was having deja vu. The fuck are you, bitch? What do you think you're doing, huh? Fucking bash your head in, bitch. Gotta make you pay for what you did. That's right. It was when I met Satoshi-kun for the first time. He came to save me. If I pretended to cry again now, will he come to save me again? I made a wish, and I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. At that time, I darted my ears. You wanna be my Barasa?
Oh, I guess since we're here already, we might as well. Cut it out. Can't you see she's crying?
Look! He has a Sprite now!
Holy shit. This is really fucking with me, considering it's always been told from his perspective.
point of view. It was a boy about my age. I couldn't quite see his face because of the light illuminating him from behind. Satoshi-kun? Of course, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be. When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized that it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. He looked less gracious than Satoshi-kun, so to speak. If Satoshi-kun was pristine and untouched, then this guy would have scratches all over him. But although they were completely different, I got a similar impression from him somehow. What the hell? What the fuck are you? You want to get hurt for it? Fucking say something, son of a bitch! The boy looked a bit taken aback.
Oh, well, I just thought you might want to let her go because she's crying, so...
The fuck are you telling us what to do?
Oh no. He's gonna be really awkward.
Oh.
Whoa, hold on! I'm against violence!
What was up with this guy? I felt ashamed that I mistook him for Satoshi-kun even for a second. He seemed cool at first, but he wasn't as cool as Satoshi-kun after all.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry that your motorcycles were knocked down. but I hope you don't feel too bad about it. How can I make you feel better? Of course, we don't have any money on us, you know.
If you don't got money, then if you got no money, you're gonna pay with your body. This chick's got some nice boobies. Let's strip her down and see. Hey, are you kidding me? I tighten my grip on the stun gun in my pocket. Then I turn it up to the maximum intensity. Don't hold a grudge against me if you die, pervs. I love it when girls get stripped in those porn videos.
Oh my god.
Yeah, their stripping's better than the actual sex. They indulge in their imaginations, but to rouse their spirits. Hey, now, why are you perverts closing in on me? Your gross hands are groping the air. You gonna try and violate me? Nah, stripping's awesome. Stripper! Yeah, the stripper from the top to the bottom. Socks off, she'll be naked as the jaybird. Hey, are you out of your mind? Don't touch me with those filthy hands! Then a flash of light cut through the air. Was that the boy?
You stupid fucks!
Well, it was like thunderbolts knocked the punks down. Wow, so he actually was strong after all. What the hell? You want some? Huh?
You don't have a clue, idiots.
What the fuck are you on about?
It's nothing around about stark nakedness.
Here's the actual KG.
Leave her socks on at least. No matter what. That was the ironclad rule. What? What?
KG, my fucking god.
What's up, monkeys? What's the difference between Homo sapiens and other animals? That's right. Humans wear clothes. Human beings without clothes are just animals. What? If you get...
You're a disaster child.
If you get aroused only when a girl's completely naked, you're less than human. You might as well be animals. I'm gonna knock some sense into you. Clench those teeth.
Oof. Oh, ah!
You mentioned a porn movie, didn't you? That's it as a That's why it's a cosplay sex video. It's a cosplay super hot.
Oh my god!
Holy shit! Oh god, okay. Oh god, it just keeps on going.
Oh no! Shit, okay. You mentioned a porn movie, didn't you? Let's say there's a cosplay sex video. The definition of cosplay is too broad. To lecture on that subject is difficult to explain the spirit of your motto to Yankees parachuting down from B-29s. So I'll limit the scope to the most popular ones. School uniforms. What are the three most prominent divisions in the larger category of school uniforms? Answer me. That's right. Regular school uniforms, gym school uniforms, and school swimsuits. Both the sailor style and the blazer style are included under the regular uniforms, by the way. Gym shorts and bloomers are likewise. And the color preference between white and navy school swimsuits is the same. So, well, doesn't that sound exciting already?
My God,
let's see if each of you is a princess of one of these divisions. Hey, you, tall one, you take the regular uniform. That one, you take the gym uniform. And you, the short one, you take the school swimsuit. Picture that image in your head within 3 seconds. Are you done? That's not good enough. Do it again. Let's say that there's a porn video of your favorite cosplay. Use your imagination. Come on, say yes, sir, when you got it. Are you ready, military men? You maggots? Good. You all have an image in your head now. Let's do this. Imagine that your favorite cosplay is stripped down entirely naked because of your stupid desire. Now think. If you take all the clothes off, that's not cosplay anymore, is it? That sort of video is rampant lately. It's just lamentable. Humans aren't clothes and civilized, they're animals. If only naked girls excited you, you'd be a pack of dogs, monkeys, or pheasants. Pack your bags and get going. Shit, this is going too fast. Pack your bags and get out. Wait, get back here. Are you... As you know, a huge amount of Russian porn vids are going around lately thanks to the end of the Cold War. You don't know that? Get out of here! I heard that a style called Beautiful Russian Schoolgirl, which is a combination of the Japanese school uniform fetish and the other Russian thing, is emerging. And I'll never accept that. School uniforms are a part of Japanese culture and art. Which super barbarians would never understand the Japanese period? Are you listening? You pathetic squid? Cut your teeth and I'll train you until you drop. And let you sleep until you're that fucking shit.
Jesus Christ, Katie.
God damn it, Katie! Cut your teeth and I'll train you until you drop. I won't let you sleep until you're capable of perfecting your imagination skills. Here comes my whip! At this point, I heard a bustle of people running this way. My Bada-san! I gathered some people! I saw several small kids running towards us. Seems like our backup had arrived. Ah, shit. Let's get out of here. 3 punks who had just been standing there gave, but then started running when they saw that many people. Yes, my Bada-san! You had those punks transfixed all by yourself! One of them even had a nosebleed. You're so strong, my butter-son.
Holy fuck. Wow, Keiichi is a huge fucking pervert.
God.
Holy shit, I completely forgot about this. Oh my god.
Oh god, they made a reference to fucking goddamn fucking...
Oh god, didn't they make... Oh god.
That's a reference to goddamn fucking...
Fate, isn't it?
Fate, yeah, it's Fate. Oh, I got the Fate station.
Ooh, it seems my personal aura has grown even more powerful, and this keeps up life with suppressed coaches made in heaven reality marble. Anyway, are you alright, Mion?
The boy was apparently called Mayabata. He turned around to face me, even though the way he mistook me for Mion sounded like Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun isn't a pervert like him.
I was anxious to see how you fight back, but I guess 3 guys are too many, huh? I don't believe it.
I was still confused. I couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? Mion had friends like him? I was still spacing out in shock, so I forgot to move until his hand touched my head.
Well, you know, I'll forget that I saw you cry. So cheer up, okay?
Rup, rup. The boy called Mayabata stroked my head roughly. It didn't feel good. It hurt, actually. But still, his hand had the same warmth. Later on, Mion told me about him. He was called Keiichi Mayabata. Kei-chan for short. He's 1 grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinamizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he had already become an idol in their class. Mion joyously explained all of this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him. But Satoshi-kun is way cooler. He wasn't worth stealing from Sis. Or was he? My heart throbbed. I was excited.
Oh god.
I felt like I'd gotten a new toy.
Oh god.
I was curious to what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. I'd love to tease her about it. Thanks, Kei-chan. Let me buy you a drink. My uncle's restaurant is just nearby, so why don't we go there? Satoshi-kun would refuse out of modesty. But Keiichi Mayabata said, okay, within 2 seconds. Well then, I couldn't wait to tease the 2 of them. My boring life suddenly became bright again.
Whoa, hey, don't cling to my arm.
Oh, don't you like it?
Well, I don't hate it. It's just, your breasts are touching me, and...
My breasts bother you? Keiichi Mayabata was fun. Mion thought the same way I did. She would always talk about him. I was happy for her. It made me smile. I guess Kei-chan really is really your favorite, huh, sis? What's the most interesting thing about him? Okay, let's see. To put it plainly, he's just funny. For example, just a couple of days ago in the club, Mion really liked him, but didn't seem to think it was love yet. He's reserved in that area, but really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him, but my feelings weren't the same as Mion's. Kei-chan is just too childish compared to Satoshi-kun. I wonder how Satoshi-kun is doing. Was he waiting for things to go down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved, though. That dopehead was the murderer. There's no reason for him to wait anymore. I shook my head. I shouldn't think about it too much. Wait, I know. The case was confidential, so the arrest of the culprit hadn't been made public. So Satoshi-kun hadn't realized he could come back. I know he's a little thick-headed. Maybe he'll be waiting for things to calm down until the end of time. But if so, couldn't he give a call to Sadako at least? He should tell her that he's living in a faraway place. But then he'll be coming home soon. Ah, that stupid Sadako. She'd been living with Rikafude since Satoshi-kun went away, so nobody would pick up the phone even if he called. Stupid girl. Don't you want your big brother to come home? Given Satoshi-kun's personality, you wouldn't remember any phone numbers other than his house phone number. So you won't be able to contact anybody in Hinamizawa. Maybe he's been calling Sadako every night. Keeps ringing, but nobody picks up. Then he'd assume Sadako might be taking a bath or be in the restroom. He'd put on a puzzled smile while mumbling, like always. Imitated his voice without realizing it. After that, what? What's up? Didn't you say something, Shion? I laughed it off and urged Mion to continue. I realized that her tone had changed. I hadn't been listening to her because I was thinking about Satoshi-kun. I thought she was still happily talking about Kei-chan. But Mion sang grim now. Her faint smile looked pitiful. It's too late to ask what was going on, so instead I concentrated on her story instead. After all that, Uncle gave everybody $1 as a thank you gift. Everybody except for me. Okay? Except for you. I wanted one too, but I couldn't say it in front of everybody. You still can't express your needs, huh? And then, Mion sniffled. I realized that she was on the verge of tears. The cutest doll was in Kei-chan's bag, and you wanted that doll. It didn't matter which one, but although Kei-chan knew only I didn't get one, he didn't give it to me. He didn't give it to me. He said the doll wouldn't fit me and that I should be born as a boy in my next life. That's what he said. That was Keiichi's weak point. He might be fun and popular, but he wasn't mature. I like Satoshi-kun. I want to start all over. I want to go back to when I just met him and start all over. I want him to treat me like a girl from the beginning. Don't take it too seriously. It'll be okay because it's just you who wants to start over while he didn't even notice anything wrong. It'd be harder if you guys fought over it or something. Can I start over? If you didn't cry in front of him, it's not too late. You can cry as much as you want now, and if you show him a different side of you from tomorrow on, you can still fix it. Okay. I'm amazed how insensitive he is, but part of that is just the impression you've been giving him so far. If you change your attitude from tomorrow on, you can still change his mind. How do I change my attitude? How? If I tell you to act cute, you'll start going to school in frilly clothes, so don't think, and just be natural. But without overdoing it. Pay attention to how you behave around him. Don't forget to be cautious with Rena. She's a bit ahead of you so far. Kei-chan might prefer Rena at this point. Oh, it's true, Rena's really girly. She's cute and caring. That just means you can't slack off for even a moment, sis, because you've got a rival. Tears can attract men, but they don't anchor them. You should always be smiling, but cry when it really counts. That's how you typically do it. Maybe I should try that on Kei-chan myself. No, don't! He's the boy you like, so I guess it's natural that I like him too. How can I attract him? Hey sis, why don't we have a competition over him? No, never! I'll kick you in the orbit if you come near Hinamizawa.
That'd be a pretty powerful kick.
It's a very strong kick. I'm happy for you, sis. It's not too late at all. It's important to know the distance between the boy you love and yourself. And shift the way you appeal to him to compensate. The boy I love is missing, you know. I don't even know where he is, or when he's coming back. Compared to that, you're very lucky. Mion is saying she'd do her best from tomorrow on with red, tearful eyes, but I sense a deeply negative feeling emerging inside me. Nobody was blaming Mion for being happy with Keiichi. Cat! I wasn't envious. I wasn't jealous. I didn't want her to be blamed the same way I was blamed. It was just that there was no space for Satoshi-kun in Mion's mind anymore, filled as it was with Kei-chan and her other friends now. It didn't matter to her if Satoshi-kun came back, or not. Just like how she didn't care if it was sunny or rainy tomorrow. What about me then? Had I been thinking about Satoshi-kun all the time for the past year? I wasn't proud of my own answer. I'd become used to life without Satoshi-kun. His absence didn't hurt me anymore. I was getting used to life with Keiichi Marabata. And if I let my guard down, he might just fill up the space I've been saving for Satoshi-kun. If Shion Sonozaki had prayed harder for Satoshi-kun to return, he might have come home already. Where did Satoshi-kun go? Last year, right after his disappearance, I'd paid close attention to the information circulating in the Sonozaki family and its underground connections, and I frequently went to the police station to check with Oshi for 4-4 new information. Even with all that, I couldn't get any leads on his whereabouts. I eventually became interested in Otoshiro-sama's curse, which surrounded Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I researched the dark history of the village. The more I looked into it, the less likely his survival seemed. I had returned Mio-san's scrapbook store, and then I hadn't gone to the library since. I started a new life at a new school. I had made new friends, and in the same way, as falling leaves covered the ground, I felt like I was losing sight of what was really important to me. It was already almost the end of spring. They said that summer was coming early, and that it'd be very hot this year. Normally it'd be the rainy season now, but we had had no rain at all. The Wakanagashi festival was right around the corner. It had almost been a year since Satoshi-kun went missing. In Hinamizawa, they don't allow you to talk openly about Otoshiro-sama's curse with a series of mysterious deaths. So everybody acts like the murders of Satoshi-kun's aunt never happened. That's because Satoshi Hojo-kun was a member of the family of traders. He fell victim to Otoshiro-sama's curse in the 4th year running. He was demoned away. Everybody was trying to forget about his existence and erase their memories of him. Don't make him disappear because of the curse. Don't erase his existence. Satoshi-kun was living in Hinamizawa just a year ago. He went to school. He was an A student. He was a member of the Hinamizawa Fighters. He could never hit the ball when it really mattered. He was unreliable but pure. He was warm. Because of the curse, people made him disappear. They stopped mentioning his name and acted like he never existed. A new resident like Keiichi Marabata wouldn't even know him. He seriously believed that Satoshi-kun had transferred out. I miss you, Satoshi-kun. I want to go to school with you again. I I want to be in a baseball game with you again and get a cold drink afterwards. I want to tease you and I want you to stroke my head again. Your hand was so warm. Felt like my whole body was being caressed. That sounds weird. Don't say it like that, Shion. Satoshi-kun. I haven't opened this notebook in a while. My feelings have been written down in over 150 pages. This notebook is the key to my heart. The other me who's been sleeping since last year is slowly waking up. Water. Water. Nah. Water. I can't reach it. Yike.
Water.
Thank you. I'm quite amazed by your dirty deeds, Kate-san. He is a boy after all. Me-chan, she-chan, Kate-chan looks confused. Did you hear that, sis? We're not playing tug-of-war here. Are you trying to tear Kate-chan apart? I'm not playing tug-of-war. You're the one who's stretching him. Go back to Okiyamiya, Shion. Okay, I will. Oops. I let go Keiichi suddenly, and so he and Sis flew off like a rubber band. Keiichi rolled on the ground while Sis was struck in the bush head first. What lively people. See ya, Kei-chan. Sis might assault me if I stick around any longer, so I'll get going.
Oh, Shion. Thanks for today.
Forget it. I didn't do much.
See you, Shion.
His hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly, but the warmth reminded me. Excuse me, I'm going. See you, sis. Don't ever come back here again. Better keep your eyes on her. Tadako set traps. Rikichan, purify this area of assault!
Oh, that seems a little excessive.
The warmth remained on the top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I had to stop. I got off my moped and pushed that aching spot against the telephone pole. I'm sorry, Satoshi-kun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I never forgot about you. I still remember you. I'm worthless without you. I can't stand life without you because it's gray and cold and boring. It's true. I can never smile because you aren't here. I can't. See you, Shion. Keiichi's face appeared in my mind. I recalled the touch of his hand stroking my head. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy. It was rough and painful. I hate that insensitive guy. He's too childish, rude, and cold. He's like a stray dog. I wasn't that happy. I wasn't warm. I wasn't happy or overjoyed at all. Oh, Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun mumbled. He didn't know what to say in a situation like this, but he knew that he had better say something. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say, so he just mumbled. I'm sorry, Shion. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi-kun? I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I said I'd wait for you, even though I believed my heart wouldn't change, my heart is full of holes. They're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart, little by little. Leaking out from me. That sounds wrong! You're suffering because I'm here? Why? You're so precious to me. I won't say that. I've been here with you all this time, but I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. I don't want that. It's not true. No. Where have you been, Satoshi-kun? You weren't with me. Tell me, where are you? What's the address? What's the postal code? What's the name of the city? What's the street number? Tell me. There isn't an address. I knew it. Telling me you're always with me, always by my side, that's such a cliche. Which do you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'll stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, I'll disappear right away. Don't say that. I want to be with you always. I want to be with you forever. Okay, I'll stay with you then. A car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. I should go home to Okiyamiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi-kun? I walked back to my moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike. But then I heard an extra footstep. I gasped. I could feel somebody else's presence. I'm not stupid. Nobody else was around here. Nobody had suddenly appeared behind me, so I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But he was definitely still there. Satoshi-kun. I couldn't see him, but he was there. He was there for me. Satoshi-kun never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. I'd just been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. The breeze tickled my hair. It felt cold, but to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took me a while to notice that my cheeks were wet with tears. Shion, I think you're starting to go a little batty.
She might be starting to go a little
tiny bit batty. Because if she remembered, the extra footstep thing was a warning from Rena. Being like, hey, that means the curse is on you. And it's just like, that's not good. I was too scared to sleep. If I went to sleep, I might not find Satoshi-kun there in the morning. So I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looking into various different things. I'd gathered underground information through Kasai and bargained for police information with Hoshi, but I couldn't find the elites. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Etc., etc. I told him all the small details about my daily life, the places I wanted to go with him, the things I wanted to do with him, the food I wanted to share with him, and I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first, but I got tired, so I lay down. I got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night I ever had. Oh my god. You missed it. There was a dog going across the screen for a second there. Oh. On top of the bar. Oh shit, I missed dialogue. Shit! I got distracted. Started moving. Nope. Okay. When I woke up, I didn't find Satoshi-kun by my side. I knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That's why I didn't want to go to sleep. But at least I got to see him for one night. Just when I resigned myself to that, I felt Satoshi-kun's presence again. It wasn't a dream after all. Thank God. And so I began my strange life with Satoshi-kun. As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. He couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head. But he was always with me. Always right by my side. He disappeared sometimes, but he'd come back when I looked for him. It seemed like all I could hear was his footsteps. That's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint, so it was hard to sense him in a crowd. But he never left me. If he were tangible, I'd be taking his hand all the time so that he wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were, because he was just a presence. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. At first, I could only tell if he was laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I didn't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. He'd keep mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I couldn't just stay home all the time. I was sticking to my time alone with him. However, because I was scared that he might suddenly disappear again. And I wanted to make the most of the time I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun would always be by my side. Yeah, that was his promise. He never breaks his promises. I was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. I could try to explain it to them, but they'd never understand. But I was certain that he was with me. So, I'd be alright. Never get fed up with life with him. He's really cute, no? We always walk together, but when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable. I love it. Shion, honey.
Shion, I think you're going a little batty there.
I think your loss is starting to make you go kind of crazy. It's Kasai.
Oh, wait, 1 second.
I got Kasai.
I'm sideline. I'm coming.
I'm on the way.
Oof.
Pile of sugar.
Shion-san, what are you going to do? What? I can't talk apparently. What Tanagashi this year?
I guess I'll have some fun at the festival. Maybe I'll tease Sis and her friends. I want to go to the festival with Satoshi-kun. I know he'd like to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan. But Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loved to see me and my friends have fun. So I should have a lot of fun for his sake. Then I talked about the day with him later.
How are you going to Hinamozawa? I can give you a ride if you want.
I'm taking my moped, so you don't have to.
That won't do. Aren't you going to the family party afterwards? I can't let you drive under the influence.
He won't let me drive, but he's kind enough to let me drink. Alright, take me then. How dare you eat those in front of me when I'm in the middle of talking and doing things that require my voice.
Good, let's leave before nightfall. I'll come pick you up around that time.
After Kasai left, I sensed that Satoshi-kun is excited about going to the festival. Left to Nagashi, huh? So it's been almost a year since you went away. Satoshi-kun seemed confused. I bet you're going all right now, aren't you? We laughed together. Welcome! Here's your net and bowl. Great! Wow, these fish are so active. They look delicious. I can eat this little one raw right here. Huh?
Oh.
What are you saying, Mion-san? Mion-chan, you eat goldfish? Did you eat the one I gave you last year too?
Oh.
No, I didn't say that. Sis shook her head hard. She turned all red.
But you just said it. You said they look delicious.
I heard too. Sis eats everything as long as it fits inside her mouth. If it's really good, I'll try it once. No, you can't, Rika-chan! You're gonna get sick!
Wait a minute. Hey you. How long have you been here, Shion?
Hi, Kachan, Sis, and everyone else. Good evening! Ah! When did you get here, Shion? I've been here since you were at the chow mein booth. I found you guys quickly since you were making so much noise.
This is Kachan.
Hey! You're not in our club! You're lost! Don't be mean, Sis. Right? Kachan? You're fine if I come with you guys, right? I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. Puff, puff. We were going to have a ball. Oh. Hi, Rana. What up? I went around the booth with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I teased Kei-chan and Sis too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. It looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. When I glanced at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me it was fun without worrying about him. If he were changeable, I'd I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. I bumped into somebody's shoulder. It was obviously my fault, so I apologized right away. As I turned out, it was somebody I knew. Hey! Oh, looks like you're having fun. Good evening, Shion-chan. The moon looks beautiful tonight, doesn't it? Oh, it's been forever, Takano-san. And you were...
Do you want me to do this?
Yeah, sure, do Tomotake-san.
Already, since this guy's kind of a doof, I'm going to give him a bit of a doofy voice. Nice to meet you. I'm Tomotake. And I heard you were Mion-chan's twin sister.
Nice to meet you too, Tomotake-san. I heard you were a great cameraman. Please take a picture of me someday.
I'm just an amateur dreaming of going professional.
Well, you're actually great, Jiro-san. You've been at many things. Okay, keep that talk for the bedroom.
No, I need to study more. I have no talent, so I have to put a lot of effort to compensate.
It must have been a relationship. You two look so happy together. Am I interrupting you two? Oh, no. I appreciate your consideration, but you're not interrupting us at all. And you can call me Mio like before, not Takano-san. It's a bit hard for me to call someone older than me by her first name. Well, never mind. I smiled bashfully and Takano-san smiled back elegantly. I haven't seen you in the library since. I wanted to talk to you more as a fellow researcher. Well, when I feel like it.
A fellow researcher. Are you interested in it too, Shion-chan? I mean, in the legend of this village.
Tomotake-san raised his eyebrows. As far as I know, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hinamizawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival of ancient times, a cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that and other legends of cruelty. Nothing if not gory. That's where her main interests lie, so I didn't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms of the taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi festival, the dedication dance, was about to start. According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance where the shrine maiden tears open a futon mat represents getting a living victim.
Oh.
It's starting. I should have... Oh, wait. Oh, nope, you're...
It's starting. I should head over. Aren't you guys coming to see Rika-chan's performance? Chama's?
Chama. Yeah, it's Rika-chama.
Rika-chama's performance.
Oh, no, this would be Tomotake-san. The other one is Takano. It's starting. I should head over. Are you guys coming to see Rika-chama's performance? Tomotake-san looked bewildered. Does that mean he wasn't coming? Takano-san giggled and then whispered in my ear. To tell the truth, we're thinking of sneaking into the ritual storehouse. Heh? She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but it wouldn't be amusing to anyone who knew what the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is a sort of treasure house belonging to the Fude Shrine. I heard that Odashido-sama's sacred treasures are stored in there. Some people from the Fude family and selected members of the other three families are allowed to enter. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be desecrated. Everybody in Hinamizawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids. Yum, yum, yum. Sugar. The storehouse was always tightly locked. You couldn't just peek into it either. The kids would get excited if they played around it, so they'd learn to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. Nothing good can come from breaking the rules. Is the show going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that? I'm pretty sure it's tightly locked. It was, until last year. Rika-chan had the heavy bolt changed for a cheap padlock, because the bolt was too heavy for her to lift. Did you know that? No, but even if it's cheap, it's still locked, isn't it? Jiro-san is very skilled. Oh, are you good at lockpicking? Only once the Watanagashi festival starts, everyone will gather around the stage, right? Then the area around the storehouse will be completely devoid of people. Tonight, this place will be a buying spot. Can't see the forest for the trees. Can't see the forest for the trees, I suppose. According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in that ritual storehouse. Why don't you join us in a bit? It's now or never. So maybe I'll see you then.
Tanako-san, what are you telling her?
Just girl talk. Let's go to some dark place for a quick date.
Whoa, lady, save that talk for the bedroom.
Takano-san walks against the flow of the crowd alongside Tomotake-san. It's the storehouse, huh? It's supposed to be filled with torture tools. Considering what they had in the underground torture room in the Sonozaki house, that's quite possible. Satoshi-kun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was the sign of Odashido-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was the sacrifice to pacify Odashido-sama's anger. That's what Takano-san said last year. That was just her hypothesis. At present, I wanted to deny her hypothesis because I wanted to believe that Satoshi-kun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the three families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onigafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. So what if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements? What if it was filled with broken plannikins or freshly painted signboards for the festival? What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with chemical-spelled paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi-kun is sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there, it didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back. What should I do, Satoshi-kun? Since most people went to see Rika-chama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. Did he go somewhere? Or was I not paying enough attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling any emotions in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with them. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I had been avoiding the truth because I was afraid that he might be dead. But now I had a chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. On my way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down, trying to see Rika-chama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him along, we could split the guilt. Otoshiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted a partner in crime. Since the boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse, maybe Mion's love should disappear this year.
Oh, that's rude.
What am I thinking? It must have been the demon inside me. I shook the thoughts out of my head.
What's going on, Shion? Where's the best place to see Rika-chan's dance from? Is it far?
Huh? I never said I was going to show you that. We made it to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomotake-san picking the lock. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He's quick to change his mind when Tomotake-san joined in. It was completely dark inside, so Takano-san lit a battery-powered lantern. A small entry space appeared before us.
It's so dark in here. Take another trip over or anything.
I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san closed the door with a smile, as if leaving Tomotake-san out on purpose.
Man. Alright, everyone have fun.
Sorry, Tomotake-san. Probably for the best.
Doesn't he get killed anyways?
Yeah. As soon as the heavy door was closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano-san's lantern. It'll be fine. It's an outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything. Takano-san teased Keiichi a little. Keiichi, in turn, looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building, even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa. Let's go in. Here we go. There. Takano-san opened the heavy inner door. A dusty, foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years and the smell of a fish market mixed together. I didn't know exactly how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. As someone who has been to a fish market before, that is a horrid smell. From listening to the echo of our footsteps, I could tell that this room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano-san raised her lantern, I could clearly see how big it was. Wow.
Wow.
At the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us intruders. I did not hit the right click button. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance and scared me. That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, Otoshiro-sama. I looked at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. If Satoshi-kun disappeared really was a curse. I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down at me. Damn you, Otoshiro-sama. If you really made Satoshi-kun disappear, I'll never forgive you. Never! Keiichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took out her scrapbooks to show him the brutal history of ancient Hinamizawa. I had heard the story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out at me, I still found them intimidating. They looked like they were carved, craving for fresh blood after not being used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. Those tools were the progenitors of torture implements. These would be their ancestors. All the implements here looked old. I doubt they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones in the Sonozaki house. So did that mean they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary. They told me the cruel rituals were indeed performed in this village at one point. Now that I found scary. What Takano-san told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me, one step later. I felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but I had no idea what he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. If he could answer me, I want to ask him, who demoned you away? Are you listening, Satoshi-kun? Couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left, as if he didn't hear anything. I could tell that he had been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. I realized that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. It was a clean altar. An altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, the flowers in the vase weren't wilting. I saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. Looked out of place amongst everything else. I was fairly certain as we concluded his handkerchief. That would mean that the storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't forgotten ruin buried in dust. So the brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oda Shido-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I accused Oda Shido-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun, but Oda Shido-sama is just a statue made of bronze or wood, and nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make the icon seem real. A series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is the result of human action. It shouldn't be called Oda Shido-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim. Then he was victimized by a human being who was acting as a part of a curse. I had something in my throat. The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not be very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not as far from my grasp. Thump. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like someone had dropped something. I looked over at Takano-san and Keiichi. Oh no, he does not look happy. Takano-san is still lecturing him. Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump, thump, thump! The sound came from right behind me, not from them. I'd never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It sounded like someone who was stomping on the floor in frustration. What is it? Thump, thump, thump! The sound continued, ignoring my questions. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on the wooden floor somewhere distant. What's wrong, Satoshi-kun? Are you angry about something? I couldn't read his expressions. I thought he was mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. Thump, thump, thump. It's not that I'd be able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. I just talked to him. I never expected him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. Then a chill ran up my spine. Felt as though all my pores were opening. I'd been thinking that it was Satoshi-kun stomping on the floor. Hey, you. You're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? The sound stopped when I asked that. It wasn't a yes or no, just silence. Satoshi-kun wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi-kun. Cold shivers shot through my feet, and I sprung a step backward. The sound had come from right there. Even though I jumped back, it was still just a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if this wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I heard its footsteps. So that invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes. And I just wouldn't see it. I forgot everything and ran, straining my ears as much as possible for any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning back to look. The only lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. But seeing the chilling dark stillness, realizing I was just in that space, made me even more frightened now. It's Keiichi.
What's up, Shihan? Did you get scared?
Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he looked horrified just a little while ago, he looked satisfied to see me scared too.
I know girls tend to get freaked out by haunted houses. Well, I don't mind it. Anyway, let's go. Before Takano-san leaves us behind.
Oh god, all them fried fish balls. I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I was able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern, as if they couldn't go into the light. Their presence never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition, but neither Takano-san nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano-san to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. If he could hear it, he would have said something. Just like with Satoshi-kun. Only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Is Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it the possible presence that I believed to be Satoshi-kun might not have been at all? Thump, thump. What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me if I did something wrong, I'll apologize. Thump, thump, thump. If you want Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place? Thump, thump, thump. Medicated line.
Shion, are you alright?
Huh? I'm fine. You look pale, though.
Then I'd appreciate it if you didn't stretch out my clothes too much.
Oh, sorry. Oh, am I interrupting you two? I decided to engage in the conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. I didn't hear the sound as much. It became a bit more distant. Yeah, I shouldn't pay attention to it. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the noise. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived in the present. You are, right? Thump, thump. What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I sold to you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up upon and punished. She smiled at me like a witch. Thump, thump. My Barapaku-kun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Otoshiro-sama's curse or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year. If it's a sacrifice, then will I be thrown into the Onigafucha swamp while I'm still alive? And it is tonight, you know. The night of Otoshiro-sama's curse. It certainly is. The curse strikes for a fifth time, it'll happen tonight. Thump, thump, thump! Takano-san pulled out the old scrapbook from her paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. It was the article about the brutal murder of a Watanagashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era. This is a story that actually happened. It was at the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of a murder, in the Onigafucha village. Thump, 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 thump. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Thump, thump, thump. Hey, you guys seriously don't hear that? It's freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Oh, hell, it's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. Next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. He turned around in surprise. That's Tomotage. It was just Tomotage-san opening the door.
Did I startle you?
Oh, Chiro-san. Could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices.
I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature.
Takano-san laughed as if making fun of Tomotage-san for being such a scaredy cat.
In any case, the dance ceremony are over. The dance ceremony are... The dance and ceremony are over.
There you go.
And everyone's going down to the river. The festival as a whole will be over within minutes.
The time was up. I never expected that Tomotage-san would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic. Oh, Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too?
I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air.
I agree. Let's leave. I went into the entry room and turned around. Takano-san was taking pictures in a mad rush, though our time was up. I didn't hear that sound anymore. I didn't feel that presence. I didn't feel Satoshi-kun's either. But somehow I wasn't too sad about that. Even if he followed me out here, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. Look at more pages. 172, 73, and 79. Defilers with a picture of a hoe.
Oh.
That underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. So, do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? According to Takano-san's theory, bloody rituals, including Higurashi, have been passed down among the three families even after the Meiji era. The rituals were always ready to be performed. Their form of worship always revolved around torture, so Hinamizawa's history involved a great deal of human slaughter. Takano-san's theory is correct. The underground storehouse at the Sonozaki house looked well maintained. Takano-san is right about that too. Since the Sonozaki family and the Furuya family both have ritual storehouses, the Kimiyoshi family must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with the knowledge that occult events are still secretly being performed in this cursed village. 173, the next page. The sanctity of the ritual storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of Oroshiro-sama. Of course, I knew that, since I'm originally from Hinamizawa. But violating that sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Takano-san's research shows that the history of the ritual storehouse goes way back. The ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it's been strictly forbidden to enter. Takano-san's theory says that the Watanagashi was once a public execution, performed to stabilize the reign of the three families rather than a purely religious ritual. So the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implement should be despised as a symbol of hatred and fear. When the instruments of fear are too visible, it only continues a reign of terror. But keep them as hidden as possible and they gain divinity. Many said that they become tainted if the laymen touch them. The only reason for that was to preserve their false prestige through secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if revealed before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse sacredness was fear. That was the true emotion ruling over this village. Fear is a powerful thing to use, to be fair.
It is a very powerful tool.
Yeah, that's why dictatorships exist. The reason why Takano-san and Tomotake-san were cursed is because they broke into a ritual storehouse. I don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there was an anti-theft alarm. Either way, our intrusion must have been reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because, considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano-san's body is found, she must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. It's possible that a special assassination team exists for that purpose, or that the plan had been set up a long time ago. They might have been secret agents of the Sonozaki family, but the latter sounds more valid. But if so, who would have been the victim if nobody broke into the ritual storehouse? That's a good question. But they always die, no matter what. Like, those two always die in each timeline, no matter what. Well, at least Tomotake-san is always dead.
That poor man.
That poor man. My relatives gathered at the Sonozaki house after the festival to have a little party. I mingled with my uncles and had fun. I was trying to get rid of my eerie memories of the ritual storehouse. Mion was acting as a successor, so I tried to stay away from her. I'm sure she would feel weird if I talked to her in a formal way. In consideration of the hag's old age, we ended the party around 11 p.m. Yeah, considering her old age, we ended it before midnight. We all helped clean up, with the women washing the dishes in the kitchen, and the men folding the tables and putting them away in the storehouse. It only took about 30 minutes, and then everyone left, one after another. By then, Mion was no longer acting as the Sonozaki's successor, and was back to being her normal self. Maybe I drank too much. I was lying on the tatami floor. Hey, Kasai! Kasai asked if I could get in the car, so I told him I'd barf if I got in now. Sis, can I spend the night here? I just want to sleep. Granny will get mad if she finds you. By the way, don't you have school tomorrow, Shion? No, tomorrow's your school anniversary, so there's no class. How many times a year does your school have its anniversary? Oh well. Okay, Kasai-san, she can stay here tonight. Well,
understood. Good night.
Good night, Kasai. Come on, Shion, wake up. Granny will be really mad if you fall asleep here. Here, hold on to me. You can sleep in my room. I was left alone all of a sudden in this late night. My alter ego told me that I'm in a demon's stomach. I wouldn't have woken up if I hadn't heard that voice. I might not even woken up at all. That was about 10 pages before the ones that I read for the tips.
Oh.
I don't remember much after that. I was probably about to Mion's room and immediately crawled into the futon. After a while, Mion got her futon ready to sleep next to me, turned the lights off, and went to sleep. At least that's what I thought. I got up and turned the lights on. Mion's futon was empty. The futon felt cold. Mion must have left it a while ago. Did she go to the bathroom? No, the closest bathroom was right there down the hallway. The light in the bathroom was off. Where'd she go? The ticking of the clock was loud and annoying in this quiet. Hands pointed to a little before 3 a.m. I was left alone all of a sudden, and it's late night. I felt the eeriness of the ritual storehouse coming back to me, despite drinking it away with alcohol earlier. I tried to sense my surroundings. In this house, there shouldn't be an eerie atmosphere, strange noises, or footsteps. I stepped out into the freezing cold hallway to look for Mion. When I did, I immediately noticed light coming from one of the nearby rooms. That room belonged to the hag. The hag went to sleep earlier and woke up earlier. She's very strict about her bedtime, so it was strange to see her lights on in the middle of the night. I could hear voices, too. Those voices belonged to the hag and Mion. I crept up to the room and listened to their conversation. Since it was the middle of the night, I could hear their words very clearly. But you know, those young ones went too far. You're right. They made Oroshiro-sama angry, so I guess they got what they deserved. Mion's voice sounded as cold as the one I had heard down in the torture room. I held my breath. The police are saying they're investigating, but are you sure? I guess. It's probably Takano-san. My heart almost stopped. Oroshiro-sama got angry. The police were investigating. It's probably Takano-san. And what day was it today? Those words told me that something was happening. My teeth started to chatter. I desperately tried to stop them. I felt like my body was swelling up suddenly. I could no longer hear as well. Calm down. Breathe. Listen more carefully. According to Mion and the hag's conversation, another incident definitely took place. The victims were Takano-san and Tomotake-san. From what I could tell, both Mion and the hag thought it made sense for whatever was happening to them. No. I needed to think more calmly. They did say they deserved it for making Oroshiro-sama angry. Did they say Takano-san and Tomotake-san made Oroshiro-sama angry? Did they make Oroshiro-sama angry? They knew. My body started to shake. They knew we snuck into the ritual storehouse. And that would mean Keiichi and I were also subject to Oroshiro-sama's curse. Suddenly a phone rang. The phone was by the front door. The front door was opposite of the hag's room, farther down the hall. The ringing echoed through the long hallway. It sounded so eerie, almost like it was coming from hell. That was when I felt someone behind me. Of course, there was nobody there when I turned around, but there was someone there a moment ago. That was graceless. I didn't know if it was Satoshi-kun. I didn't sense any emotion, so I couldn't tell. I also didn't know how long it had been there. It was almost as if someone was watching me listen in on their conversation. That was the feeling I got. It couldn't be Satoshi-kun. Satoshi would never be that intimidating or scary. My mind turned all red, as if it was suffusing with blood. Have you experienced anything like that? Those footsteps always followed me. They even came to my bedside and looked down at me. I remembered what Rena Ryugu had said on that rainy day. You'll be okay if that's true. Oroshiro-sama won't get angry at you. If Oroshiro-sama wasn't angry, nobody would follow me. So what did this mean? Ever since we stuck in the shrine storehouse, something had been following me? What is it? Calm down. That's right, Rena wasn't talking about me. She was talking about Satoshi-kun. That's what happened to Satoshi-kun. Everything he's going through is a sign of Oroshiro-sama's curse. That's right. That's why he encountered the curse of Oroshiro-sama. You feel someone is watching you from a distance, and it follows you. Creepy feeling crawled up and spread across my back. Then it watches you from right behind you. After that, you start hearing an extra footstep. I swallowed loudly. It's almost as though Rena Ryugu was predicting what would happen to me. Had Rena been talking about Satoshi-kun back then? Or had she actually been talking about me? But you start hearing it even inside your house after a while. Then Oroshiro-sama keeps watching you, even when you're sleeping in the dark. Right by your side, waiting silently. I knew by now that there was no mistake. No matter how I looked at it, she had been talking about me. Yes, me. It had been about me. Curse of Otoshiro-sama. What is the curse of Otoshiro-sama? That's when I actually felt something for real. Someone grabbed my collar. Ah! No voice came out. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was open and close my mouth as if something had stuck in my throat. Oh, hi, Mion! It was Mion. She looked even colder than how she looked in the underground torture room. It only made sense that she'd come out in the hallway to answer the phone. Tried to come up with an excuse. However, the way Mion looked at me was so cold. Even if I really had run into her by accident, I could tell by the look in her eyes that she wouldn't believe me. I felt cold sweat all over my body. I couldn't even move my fingers. Sorry. I apologized. I could have said something else to get myself out of the situation, but the apology came out first. But Mion didn't appear to hear me. She walked to the front door, still holding my collar. The phone was still ringing. A normal person doesn't let a phone ring so long for this time of night. The phone call itself didn't seem real to me. Mion picked up the phone. This is Mion. I see. I understand. Please take care of things at your end. Also, please make sure that nobody talks about this. Yes, goodbye. Mion put down the phone after a short conversation. What did she mean, make sure nobody talks about this? Who called, anyway? Mion put her forehead to mine and spoke to me. Did you hear? Which conversation was she asking me about? Oh, she had to be talking about the one with the hag. She said, if I said yes, what would happen to me? I don't know what you're talking about. Mion pulled my collar, pressing her nose on mine, and continued to speak. Just what you heard. The curse of Otoshiro-sama fell upon Tomotake-san and Kakudo-san. It's really very unfortunate. It's like I was talking to myself in a mirror. What I was saying in the mirror was ever so cold. Sis, what is the curse of Otoshiro-sama? Tomotake-san killed himself by clawing out his throat. Takano-san is burned to death in an oil drum. Terrible, isn't it? Tomotake-san clawed out his own throat until he died? What? Takano-san was burned to death in an oil drum? What? I felt something furry crawling up my spine. I also felt like my stomach was turning upside down. I didn't feel any strength in my legs. If Mion let go of my collar, I'd probably collapse on the spot. Okay, I may need to turn down. I feel like the game's a little loud.
It is just a wee bit loud.
I got it. There we go. That's not picking up on the microphone as much either. Well, why did they die that way? Don't you know, Shion? I'm asking you because I don't know. I don't know. Don't you see there can only be one reason? Please don't talk as if I already know the answer. What do you mean? My heart was pounding. Felt like my next breath would be so bloody and hot that I'd choke on it. Don't you know? It's because they made Otoshiro-sama angry. The first year, it was the manager of the dam construction site. The second year, it was their traitors to the village. The third year, it was the pacifist. The fourth year, it was the relatives of the traitors. I always thought the victims were people who had to do something with the dam conflict, since it didn't have anything to do against the village in the dam conflict. I assumed I was safe. I should have known. I should have known everything would be the curse of Otoshiro-sama. I knew Otoshiro-sama's anger was the curse of Otoshiro-sama. I knew Otoshiro-sama would be angry if I snuck into the ritual storehouse, but since I wasn't held responsible in any way for the dam conflict, I thought I would be I never thought I'd be a victim of the curse. Did I ever think there would be an incident in the 5th year? Did I ever think that I'd be the victim of the 5th year incident? Tomotake-san snuck into the storehouse and clawed at his own throat until he died. Takano-san was burned to death in an oil drum. It must be a lie. It couldn't be true. Even if it was forbidden, it was just a space where stirring some old torture implements. How could they be killed for just sneaking in there? Especially in such gruesome ways. But I thought about it again and realized that those people were absolutely capable of doing things like that. The main Sonozaki family was capable of it. The Sonozaki family had been pulling the strings behind a series of mysterious deaths. They could do it. The Sonozaki family even kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction during the dam conflict. They could do it. The Sonozaki family made Satoshi-kun disappear completely. They could do it. Mion leaned against me, before falling onto the cold, hard floor. She collapsed rather violently. I usually didn't go to sleep with my stun gun. But since I got too drunk to get ready for bed, I still had it on me. I had my stun gun on me. I finally understood. I didn't know who killed them exactly. Whose idea was it and who ordered it? I didn't even know who was actually involved. But Mia and the hag knew everything. Satoshi-kun, now I finally know. Now I know what I need to do.
Uh-oh.
I'll settle the score for you, Satoshi-kun. I'll avenge you, Satoshi-kun. I won't be killed like you, Satoshi-kun. I walked into the hag's room. She was sitting up to take some medicine. Her back was turned to me. Mia and I were twins. If I acted like her, the hag wouldn't notice the difference. I didn't think she'd ever suspect me. Put my stun gun to her neck and pulled the trigger. I heard an indescribable electric sound, and the hag's lights were out. She fell in a twisted position. I didn't know how long it would take a person to regain their freedom of movement after getting knocked out with a stun gun, so I had to restrain them before they woke back up. I was unbelievably calm. The key to the underground torture room was in the forbidden drawer that only the head of the family can access. Mia had told me this once. I had never looked for the drawer before, but I found it exactly where I thought it would be. The key was on a keychain with several of its sisters. Each key had a little plaque on it that said what it was used for. They were all in Mion's handwriting. She was an idiot for being so conscientious, but it sure helped me out. I put the keychain in my pocket and headed to the outdoor storeroom to find a cart. I found a large flashlight there as well. There was a strap on the flashlight so I could put it on my shoulder. That way, I'd have both hands free to carry Mion and the hag. I loaded Mion and then our grandmother onto the cart and carried them to the underground torture room. I was prepared to use the stun gun again if they woke up while I was working, but it was more powerful than I imagined, and the hag showed no signs of waking. This was the stun gun Kasai specifically ordered for me when I told him I wanted a powerful one. I remembered him telling me that it was an illegally modified stun gun, that I should never use it just for fun. Jesus Christ, how many bolts does it have then?
Does that mean that she just literally zapped the hag to death?
No, she's still alive. I used my flashlight to find the light switch. I found it easily and turned it on. All the lights went on in the basement. Although it was now illumination, it was very dim. I moved quickly, so as to finish what I needed to do before they woke up. I decided to put Mion in a cell beyond the torture room. The lights in the torture room were so bright that it was like daylight. And there was a door there. It was fairly certain the cells were on the other side of that door. The proper key was here. The keys made a twinkling sound. I felt cold air coming through the gap in the door. Must be a huge opening on the other side. I opened the door and saw nothing but darkness. I felt along the wall to find a light switch. I turned the switch on and the light bulbs lit up, revealing a huge rocky cave. It didn't look like a natural cave. It looked more like an air raid shelter. There were several hollow openings with bars across them. Those were the cells. I walked up to the closest cell and checked to see if it was strong enough to confine her. I pushed and pulled on the bars. I rammed against them with my weight and decided they were perfectly sturdy. This was secure enough to be called a cell. I opened the door and carried Mion in. It wasn't particularly strong, just average. I never thought I was strong enough to carry a whole person. But now I didn't need to pretend to be weak. I could easily lift and drag their bodies. I put Mion in the cell. She seemed to moan a little. I didn't need the check to make sure. The effects of my stun gun were wearing off. I closed the bars and turned the key in the lock. And I ran to the hag, who must have been starting to wake up too. Fortunately, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say no. There was no signs of her regaining consciousness. Maybe the difference in age had something to do with it. I looked for a table to restrain her on. Found a wheelchair with restraints for the hands and feet. Put the hag in it. Of course she didn't resist, but her dead weight made it seem like she was a huge French doll, but one made out of flesh. That's disgusting and terrifying to think of it that way, but okay.
Ew.
I put her hands in the armrest and restrained them at the wrist with the metal rings and hinges. I did the same with her feet. This must have been a wheelchair specifically remodeled to restrain a person. Other than the restraints, it was just a regular wheelchair. I waited for the hag to wake up. I had so many things I wanted to ask her. I didn't think she'd honestly answer, but I had plenty of tools to make her talk. I was in no rush. When the hag had a concern, relatives took care of the problem. There's one last one in there. Do you want it?
No, you can have it.
Okay, cool. That's how it worked in the Sonozaki family. She was the leader of the family, so all the information they gathered would make its way to her. She must know everything that happened in Hinamizawa, including the curse of Otoshiro-sama. I heard a noise from the cells. Mion must have woke it up before the hag did. Okay, good. Speaking of the hag, she didn't seem like she was about to wake up anytime soon, but she was restrained even if she did, so I had no need to fear. I left the hag there and headed for the cell. Shion, what do you think you're doing? She talked like the successor, but she also sounded frightened. She obviously understood the situation she was in right now. Good morning, Mion. You never thought you'd be in there, huh? As the acting head, I order you, open this up. It sounds so scary in there. You need to talk more like a leader, don't you think? Though talking that way will only make you look like a fool. There was nothing funny about it, but I wanted to imitate Mion. My laughter echoed throughout the cave. It was artificial and meaningless laughter. I heard it over and over as it echoed. It sounded as if I wasn't the only one laughing. I couldn't stand it, so I stopped. Silence filled the air. The silence almost hurt my ears, so I started to speak. I never thought Tomotage-san and Takano-san would be the victims. What an idea to burn Takano-san to death. But actually, she would be the kind of person who'd prefer to die that way. Maybe she's satisfied, huh? Mion didn't say anything. She just stared at me to see how I'd proceed. How about the way that Tomotage-san died? Clawed out his own throat, right? Did you give him a shot of some kind? Or is there a torture device that did that to him? Mion didn't reply. I was smiling boldly, but I became impatient and finally kicked the bars and made a violent noise. Mion jumped as if she was kicked directly. It's boring not to get many answers. Do you have any idea what'll happen if I get angry? How would I know? Mion finally replied. She was odious, but at the same time sounded pitiful. Hey, Mion, as the successor, why don't you tell me? Let's see. I had just too many things I wanted to ask her. I wanted to ask her about me, about the incident, about the curse, about Satoshi-kun. I didn't even know where to start. Before I asked her about those, I asked her one other thing. You know there's no point in trying to resist, don't you? Mion glared at me silently. Because we were twins, I knew that that was just a bluff. We've come this far, so there's no point in me hesitating anymore. You shouldn't expect hesitation or even mercy from me, sis. Mion must have been feeling the cold sweat on her face. Although the light was dim, I could tell she was frightened. Alright, here I go. First, about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as the Curse of Otoshiro-sama. What's the meaning of it? Is it to signify the end of the damn conflict? I think so. Mion sounded a little confused, but she answered. I felt satisfied now that we were communicating. I continued with a smile. You think, huh? Don't you know the details? You know yourself. That the successor is simply a messenger for Granny. Yeah, right. But the successor must know everything the current head is thinking, right? Do you really think I'd believe you're just a messenger? Although I'm always around Granny, I don't always know what she's thinking. It's not like I can understand her all the time. Okay, so you're saying that everything about the Curse of Otoshiro-sama is decided by the hag herself, right? I assume she'd talk to the successor about it. When it's something dangerous, Granny decides it on her own. I don't have anything to do with it. But even if she decides by herself, the hag uses you to take care of various things, doesn't she? And you're telling me you don't know anything? No! She doesn't use me for that! I really don't understand it myself, but it's like I take care of the problems on the surface and somebody else takes care of the problems on the underside. Who? Who's the one who takes care of these underside problems? I don't know! Haven't you seen anyone? Haven't you overheard a phone conversation? It must be someone who gets in touch with the hag at the same time every year, around the time the curse happens. I don't know! I really don't! Mion shook her head. Okay, let me change the question. Why were Tomotage-san and Takano-san chosen as victims, even though they had nothing to do with the dam conflict? Was it because they snuck into the ritual storehouse? As soon as Mion heard the words ritual storehouse, her expression shifted. The ritual storehouse? Did they intrude on the storehouse of the Furei Shrine? Didn't you know? I thought you already knew. If they really did that, then it's truly stupid of them. Of course something would happen to them. Mion muttered bitterly while shaking her head repeatedly. Mion's reaction made me realize the true meaning of the forbidden storehouse of ritual implements. The ritual storehouse is a sacred building, so nobody can go inside. The curse will fall upon anyone who disobey. Any child would know that rule. However, just because they knew about it didn't mean that they all believed in it. Although they were told they would be cursed, most of the children actually enjoyed hearing the stories. They simply didn't believe it was true. However, Mion's reaction told me it absolutely was. If they actually did that, of course something would happen to them. She was saying that as if someone snuck into the ritual storehouse, the person should be killed. What you know and what I know aren't matching up anymore. Of course, I'm aware I shouldn't just waltz into the storehouse, but to be killed in such a gruesome way for doing it? I never knew that, did you? That's just because you're ignorant about it, Shion. Well, sorry for being ignorant. Could you please explain it to me? Just like you said, the kids didn't really believe in the curse. They just assumed it's superstition. But they also know that if an adult found out, they'd be in big trouble. But to the elderly people of Kingdom Mizawa, it's something more serious. Mion explained to me how the elderly people blindly believed in Odashiro-sama, and how sacred the festivals are to them. It's probably something the younger generation would never understand, but they're possessed by a very strong, deeply rooted devotion toward Odashiro-sama. Mion then went on to tell me that how sinful it was to violate the rule of the ritual storehouse. I just couldn't believe things that were still going, or even in the modern day. I couldn't even reply appropriately, but even if it was unbelievable, I couldn't ignore what I was hearing from my twin sister. I see, but Mion, doesn't the rule say that one victim gets killed in the curse and the other one has to be sacrificed? The body of the sacrifice is never to be found, but there are 2 dead bodies this time. What do you think of that? Mion doesn't know that besides Takano-san and Tomotage-san, Keiichi and I also snuck into the ritual storehouse, so I tried to lead her a little. I know. That doesn't make sense. Maybe Takano-san's burned body wasn't supposed to be found. Maybe the intention was for her to vanish. Or, I'm not too sure, but what? Just say what you're thinking, I won't get mad. Mion hesitated a little first and then started to speak. Actually, 4 people snuck into the shrine's storage. So maybe... Maybe what? Maybe the other 2 will become the sacrifices and get demoned away. Oof. Sorry, moving that.
Oof.
It was digging into my side. My leg. Mion's words were stuck in my head. If those 2 dead bodies were the result of the curse, then there should be 2 sacrifices to calm Odashiro-sama's anger. The 4 of us stuck into the shrine storage together. It was a simple equation. Did that mean Keiichi and I were in danger? I got drunk, fell asleep, and decided to stay overnight. Was that because of the alcohol, or did someone put a drug in my drink? It's not like me to get drunk and spend a night at the hag's house. I wanted to forget about what happened in that eerie storehouse, so I drank too much. But it really was strange for me to get that drunk. Maybe it was a good thing I woke up in the middle of the night. Could have been the one to wake up in a cell. Sometimes it's hard to recognize danger when you avoid it accidentally. Part of me wanted to just laugh at the idea, but another part of me felt frightened that I was so close to being in Mion's position. If my thinking was correct, I wonder how Keiichi Maebara was doing right now. I didn't see him in any of the cells, but that didn't guarantee his safety. Takano-san and Tomotage-san had been executed. There's a possibility that Keiichi could already be dead. But just like what happened to Satoshi-kun, it might only happen after a few days. When the sun rose, I was going to pretend to be Mion and head to her school. I was going to check if Keiichi Maebara was safe. If he had already disappeared, the enemy might come after me next. I'd have to be a decoy for myself. But if he was still safe, I'd need to keep my eyes on him. I'm sure the enemy would cut after that scatterbrain. If I become Mion, Shion would disappear. The enemy would think Shion had already been demoned away, and they'd concentrate on Keiichi. If nothing happened to Keiichi, that would also be fine. It proved that nothing would happen to me either. The hag was still sleeping in the wheelchair. I was going to interrogate her, but actually I wasn't expecting to learn that much. The woman, who is also known as the Empress Sonozaki, probably wouldn't say a thing even if her fingers were cut off. Mion, her successor, was the complete opposite. She spoke readily, but didn't know much about anything. Mion had said she was only a messenger, and that somebody else was taking care of the problems on the other side. It's possible that Mion had grown to be a good liar, and that she decided to deceive me with a straight face. But at the same time, I could see the hag not letting Mion get involved in the underside of the village. If I were her, I wouldn't have used Mion for that either. Unlike me, Mion was a nice person. While there was only ones and zeros in the world, she believed that the numbers were decimal points. In other words, she could never be cruel. The hag thought the same way as I do. It's very possible. The one who took care of the problems on the underside, X, was the one who actually governed the curse of Odashiro-sama. If the hag became concerned about something, X would deal with it, either directly or indirectly. Maybe the hag and X would discuss the details first. But did X really exist? If he did, his place in the village hierarchy was a lot more important than that of his successor. Unlike Mion, who was too nice, he was discreet, cruel, and cunning. Furthermore, he was extremely close to the hag, someone who had a lot of contact with her just before it was time for the curse. Because of the way Tomitake-san died, it could be someone who regularly deals with unusual drugs. It could be a member of the medical institution. Director of the EDA clinic. EDA? In this isolated village, EDA was famous for opening such a beautiful clinic, for working so hard for the village's sake. The villagers liked his mature personality and really respected him. There's nothing scarier than a doctor who's also a murderer. If EDA was the person behind the curse, all the mysterious deaths could be explained. However, there's only a slim chance of EDA being X, the main reason being that the hag wouldn't trust him. Like many of the elderly, the hag doesn't like young people. I knew she'd never trust him because of his age. Furthermore, she openly criticized his behavior amongst the relatives once. Although EDA was famous, he was an outsider after all. He wasn't born here. He tried to maintain a good relationship with the villagers as the director of the clinic, but that was just on the surface. I couldn't even imagine the hag telling him about her worries, or about the villagers' underside. If she was as suspicious of the others as I was, then she'd only gather trustworthy people to deal with the underside. The first people that came to my mind were the leaders of the three families. Even Rikachama out, the head of the Kimiyoshi family was a strong possibility. He was the only one who would advise Empress Sonozaki. They were of similar age, and everyone knew that they were very close outside of family councils. Furthermore, as the mayor, he often went to the Sonozaki house just before Watanagashi to discuss festival preparations. I could easily picture them talking privately. The one who executed the curse of Otoshiro-sama, the one who murdered Takano-san and Tomitake-san, the mastermind behind the series of the mysterious deaths that have been going for the past 5 years. Was he coming after me? Did he get to Satoshi-kun? When I thought about Satoshi-kun, I felt elevated, as fearful of possibly being this year's victim until just a moment ago. I was scared that X was after me. But when I thought about it, I realized, whoever it was, this person had gotten to Satoshi-kun. I had looked so hard, but I couldn't find him. I had almost forgotten about this enemy. For better or for worse, he was going to appear before me again. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find that enemy. But now he was trying to find me. That was it. I wasn't only being chased. I was chasing too. When I realized all of this, I was no longer afraid of dying to the 5th year's curse. It had become a game. I wasn't only being threatened, I was threatening too. Now is the time to settle the score for Satoshi-kun. Now is the time to awaken passions that had been growing weak over the past year. I could feel righteous indignation and courage flare up within me. The only emotion that could defeat fear is anger. When my anger completely overtook my fear, I felt as if I were reborn. Why don't you wake up, Empress of Hags? I kicked her wheelchair rather violently, but that didn't wake her up either. Are you just pretending to be asleep? I grabbed her hair and pulled her head up. But even then, the hag still stayed silent with a straight face. Then I noticed something. I looked for an appropriate torture device. They were all large-scale, none of them being particularly handy. That's when I saw a cigarette lighter on the cushion of the tatami room. One of the relatives must have left it there. I lit the lighter. A huge flame appeared. Turned the lighter off, and then went back to the hag with it. Can you see it? Can't you see it? This is a cigarette lighter somebody left behind. Lit it in front of her eyes. I'm going to burn your nose now. You don't want that, do you? I wouldn't want it. So why don't you quit pretending to be asleep? There was still no response. But the flame right under her nose without hesitation. The tip of the flame touched the tip of her nose. The flame must have burned her nose hair. It smelled terrible. I was already certain, but I continued anyway. I brought the flame closer to her eye. Her eyelid didn't move one bit. The flame burned her eyelashes, making it smell awful again. I turned the lighter off and felt her throat and wrist. I didn't feel any warmth. I didn't feel a pulse either. Did she die from the stun gun? There was no way she could pretend to be asleep while being burned. Even if she could endure the pain, anyone would reflexively move their eyelids if flame came close to their eyes. But she didn't. I turned the sink water on and aimed the end of the hose at the hag's face. The water pressure wasn't too high, but squeezing the tip of the hose, it could make it squirt out. The water hit the hag in the face, but there was still no reaction. Shit. You've got to be kidding me. She's dead. The one who was at the center of everything is dead now. I knew she wouldn't talk, but I didn't expect her to end up dead. I never thought of killing her. I walked around the room restlessly. I didn't feel guilty, but instead felt frustrated with what I had done. Come on! I need to calm down. What do I need to be afraid of? Calm down and stay cool. Calm down, stay cool. I could feel my brain starting to calm down, and my emotions cooling down with it. She was my true enemy. It's just that I killed her before confronting her about it. Sooner or later, I would have killed her anyway. She wouldn't have said anything in the first place, so there wasn't really any reason why I should let her live. I didn't realize that until now. That's why I got frustrated. My revenge for Satoshi-kun started with the unexpected death of my grandmother. It was such a strange feeling, like I was wearing sopping wet clothing. I replaced the feeling with anger. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forgive the hag for abusing the Hojo family, including Satoshi-kun, for so many years. She cornered him psychologically as well as physically. She didn't deserve an easy death from a stun gun. I picked up a whip that was hanging on the wall. The whip was designed to make sure the person on the receiving end got seriously injured. I swung it up and then down. The sound reminded me when I was a child hitting things with a jump rope. I pretended it was a whip. But unlike then, I made a purple mark on the hag's face, and reddish-black blood started oozing out. I swung it up and down again. This time the whip hit her in the head. Her hair flew in the air. I saw a bunch of her hair on the tip of the whip. The end of the bunch of hair was a piece of her skin. Seeing the whip had ripped a part of her scalp off. Continued to hit her with the whip. I didn't bother removing the hair beforehand. The tip of the whip was divided into many points, with each point having a fish hook at the end. Ow!
Ooh.
Those hooks, added to the speed of the whip, not only scratched the victim, but they tore their skin as well. The hag's hair was all messed up and her face was getting bloody. She started to look like a real demon. I stopped the whipping. Not because my arm was tired, but because I couldn't stand the feeling of her hair on the tip touching me every time I swung the whip. I threw the whip at the hag. Breathing heavily, I realized I was covered in her hair. Almost felt like thousands of maggots crawling all over me. Brushed it off violently. You deserve this, you fucking demon hag. Put my hands on my knees and exhaled roughly. It was then I noticed it. I perked up and turned around. There it is. The person who had been watching me since I snuck into the shrine storage. I sensed this person sitting in the tatami room and enjoyed watching me torture my grandmother. Overwhelming emotions started to swallow me up. I tried desperately not to feel it. How long have you been there? Should have said something. It's just there. Just like Satoshi-kun, it was just there. It's extremely uncomfortable to have it just be there. I see. Rana told me. Are you Oroshiro-sama? I smiled boldly, and yet I could feel my body shivering. You can't fool me. Are you saying that you're Oroshiro-sama and that the curse of Oroshiro-sama really does exist? Come on! Who would believe something like that, huh? It was just my imagination. It couldn't be the curse of Oroshiro-sama. The curse couldn't be real. Everything was done by humans. They made everything look like it was a curse. But I don't care if you saw what I did. I won't charge you for it. But if you're thinking about interfering, I won't hold back, you know. No matter what I said, nothing happened. It was like trying to communicate with an insect. It felt like I was staring at a spider in the middle of its web, and the spider was starting back. I turned to the hag in the wheelchair. I couldn't leave the body here forever. If I didn't mean to make her death known, then it should be quick, and it's best that the body doesn't exist. Not even in the secret underground torture room. Whew! I exhaled to try and calm myself down. Oh, I remember now. When I was a little girl, Kasai used to love making me feel scared. He often told me scary stories about various horrible things. I recall a story about the secret torture room of the Sonosaki family. According to the story, there was a well in the torture room for dumping bodies in. There was a pile of tortured corpses at the bottom of the well, and resentful moans could be heard echoing from there. About halfway down the well, there was a different tunnel, which was a secret passage leading into the distant mountains. That bit was from Mion telling him the story. That was probably an amalgamation of telling from different relatives. The room was supposed to be a huge secret, but everybody got loose lips on the chance of having fun scaring the young successor. Mion, do you remember which one of our relatives talked about the hidden well a long time ago? There's supposed to be a hidden well somewhere in this underground torture room, and it's connected to a secret passage. Did you hear some noise earlier? That was me whipping the hag. Mion didn't reply, but I saw her bite her lip. Don't worry, I won't whip you. But if you don't cooperate, I might punish her some more. Next time I won't use a whip. Down at the end. Do you see us out in the darkness? It's in there. Mion pointed weakly. I walked down to where her fingers indicated. The light bulb lit up the ceiling. It was a lot smaller than the one Mion was in. It was very shallow, and I didn't even need to open the door to see how tiny it was. Of course, there was no well in there. I became angry, assuming she lied to me, but after considering it, I didn't actually think she would come at this point. I opened the door and walked in. I noticed something immediately. There was an opening right in the middle of the cell. This opening was naturally disguised. The way the rocks and shadows were positioned perfectly hid the well. The tip of a rock inside the cell concealed the entrance. Unless you went in, you'd never notice. It was such a shallow cell that nobody would ever think of going in. Besides, the bars allowed you to see inside the well enough. The cell is not even a few meters deep, so it would only take a glance to see everything. Nobody would think of unlocking the door and walking in. But walking in was the only way anyone could find the well. Furthermore, there were many cells in this huge cave. Who'd think that the one of them was hiding the secret well? Inside the well was dark. I couldn't see anything. But every little noise I made produced echoes. I could tell that it was very deep. I brought a flashlight from the torture room and shone it down the well. It almost looked more like a vertical tunnel. Obviously a man made one at that. There were wedges on the wall like a ladder, and they looked like they were inviting me to descend. It's kind of ironic that the secret escape route from the underground torture room would end up being a well that takes you further down. There's no way knowing whether it would take you to freedom or to hell. Furthermore, there were tortured bodies of past victims at the bottom. Who would be able to go down this well without hesitation? Nobody in their right mind could go down this well looking for a secret tunnel, hearing the voices of the dead all the while. Have you ever gone down this well, Mion? I've never even wanted to. I feel the same way. Why would I go down the well where they tossed the victims of this torture room? I went back to the torture room and then returned to the cave, pushing the wheelchair containing the hag. Mion screamed, Shion! Are you going to push Granny down the well? What do you think? No, I'm not. I'm just dumping her body. She's dead. Rest assured, I didn't torture her to death. It was probably the stun gun. Maybe her heart failed. I could just leave her body here, but I don't want it to rot, you know? How could you? Hey, do you want me to take care of her even now that she's dead? Maybe you could use chopsticks to pull maggots off her body, huh? Mion covered her ears and shook her head. Everything I said seemed to bother Mion. Her own life wasn't guaranteed at this point. Shion, why did you do this? Let's see. What do you think? Nobody said anything for a while, but the silence was soon broken. Satoshi? Is this revenge? I don't know if it was really revenge, since it happened so quickly. I'm sure she died without even feeling a thing. Hey, Mion, now that I think about it, I did have a reason to kill the hag. Do you know what it was? It wasn't just because she killed Satoshi-kun. It was because she lied. I slapped the hag's head. You said it too. You told me that if I ripped out my nails, you would forgive everyone. Little does Shion know, Granny Sonozaki is the master of playing dead. No, I'm pretty sure she was electrocuted to death. You told me that if I ripped out my nails, she would forgive everyone. That's why I ripped out all 3 of my nails. I did what you told me to, right? But she didn't keep her promise. She made Satoshi-kun disappear. Why? What was that for? I continued to slap the hag's head. Her blood was all over my hand by then and felt gross. No, she's just going to dump the body because it's already dead. I tried to wipe all off on her clothes, but her hair got on my hand. I ran to the sink of the torture room and washed my hand with a brush. When I was done, I went back to Mion's cell. After Satoshi-kun disappeared, you came over and told me. You said the relationship between me and Satoshi-kun was to forgive it. You also said that the Sonozaki main house had nothing to do with Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Yeah, you lied! Lied. My shouts echoed through the cave. I was breathing heavily. I felt like I used up all the air in my lungs. I believed you didn't know anything. You weren't even sure if the hag actually trusted you. But I don't know if she forgave Satoshi-kun because of what I did. She wouldn't have told you the truth. The hag didn't keep her promise. She said she'd forgive everyone, but she lied. She didn't forgive. She didn't forgive Satoshi-kun. Liar. Damn it! Give me back Satoshi-kun. I want him back. I kicked the hag's legs repeatedly. Each time I kicked the wheelchair, it made a squeaky noise. I ran out of breath and kneeled down. Mion was still covering her ears and was now shaking. There was tears in her eyes. Sorry to scare you. Sorry about that. If you really don't know, I won't torment you. Don't worry. But if you were ever lying to me, well, you'll have to accept whatever comes your way. You know what I mean? I think Shion's gone off the deep end. Just a little bit. Woof. Oh, more pages. Sting of Payback. Picture the whip. Page 183. I wasn't planning to kill the hag so quickly. I was going to kill her anyway, but it was too soon. People would normally assume that the Sonozaki family operates as a hierarchy, but that's not true. It's actually more like a system of government. Several ministries stem from the main family, and each forms a hierarchy of its own. These ministries don't communicate with one another. The people who belong to a given ministry don't know what other ministries are doing. That way, the Sonozaki family's dealings are kept perfectly secret. Of course, the main important part of the family governs several ministries. They know, of course, about their own ministries, and they know a little bit about the ministries their relatives run, but none of them know everything. There are ministries that work in the open, there are ministries that work unseen, and there are some smaller ones that Onryu runs herself. Mion seems to know about most of them, but she doesn't necessarily know all of them. In fact, she didn't even know about the curse. Considering that, the fact that the hag died before I could interrogate her is a huge loss. 185, 2 pages after. The head of the Kimiyoshi family was the one who called the main house most often after the 5th year curse. My father called the second most. My parents were still high in the hierarchy, but the stir caused by my mother's disownment still hung over us, so we got treated as outcasts. So the fact that my father received so many calls proved how much the hag valued us, despite the distance at which we were kept, demonstrating her own two-faced respect for both sides of the coin. My father seemed to be in charge of the intelligence bureau. He reported police information, gossip, and rumors going through the Yakuza business to the hag. He silences, stirs, and distorts the information at her request. By the way, my servant Kasai is an old friend of my father's. There must be why Kasai knows many things. But I don't know if my father is involved in the curse execution. My assumption is that although he gathered information in the police investigation about the case, he wasn't involved in the execution itself. The fact that my father and the hag have this close connection isn't widely known. People know that she uses his information network, but they didn't look very far beyond that. In the same way, it's possible that a curse execution team exists under the hag's direct control. People just aren't aware of it. I'm going to do one more chapter. Because we're not even at the 2-hour mark yet. I was having such a happy dream. Satoshi-kun was in the dream. He was leading his normal, everyday life. Oh, look at him with his baseball uniform. He was back on the baseball team. EDA acted normally around him because we knew how mature people should act. We welcomed him back, as if he had been with us the whole time. Although he hits well in practice sections, he still doesn't do well in the real game. Come on, Satoshi-kun. 3 strikes already. I'm cheering for you. Then Satoshi-kun pouted as he mumbled. I felt tears pouring down my face. Oh. Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. The happy dream faded out with my sobs. The harder I tried to focus on it, the faster it faded. Soon it was all gone. I could see the bright morning sun through a crack in the curtains. I was in Mion's room at the Sonozaki house. When did I come back? I was crouching in the corner of the room and crying. A dream is a dream. I wish I hadn't woken up. But one must wake from a dream. We live in a world where there are no dreams, and that's why we always wake up. But I wasn't sure if I was the only one dreaming that dream, because I felt like Satoshi-kun was right beside me. Satoshi-kun, did you come back? There was no reply. That was the rule. If it was Satoshi-kun, I wish he'd smile at me just once. But Satoshi-kun's presence faded away, as if he were never there to begin with. I heard the phone ring from the front door. Ah, that's right. I was the only one in the house now. I'd answer it. I got up to walk to the front door. I felt unsteady, so I put my hand on the wall to support myself. I hardly got any sleep. It was like I had a bad cold. The phone continued to ring. I probably didn't have to answer it, actually. But I was still half asleep, and all I could think of was answering the phone. Hello, Sonozaki residence. Sorry to call you so early, it's Kimiyoshi. Is your grandmother still sleeping? Is Uncle Kimiyoshi? She is, yes. I guess she's still tired from yesterday. I think I'll let her sleep in. Yeah, you probably should. Mion-chan, you're going to school, right? Can I leave a message with you? Sure. What is it? Let's see. There will be an emergency meeting regarding the incident from yesterday. It'll be at the assembly hall, starting at 5 p.m. Did you get that? Yes. I'll give her the message. As soon as I put the phone down, it rang again. Hello, Sonozaki residence. Good morning, sorry to call you so early. This is Kasai. Oh, shit! That's you. Okay. Are you playing around on your phone? Touch. Dirty wall.
Good morning. Sorry to call you so early. This is Kasai. Is this Mion-san? Good morning.
Kasai-san. Good morning.
Is Shion-san still there?
I wasn't panicked, but I hesitated. I could tell him no. Or I could play both Mion and Shion. This is all according to Granny's plan. Shion was washing her face just now. I'll get her for you. I decided to play two parts. I went back and forth down the hallway and picked up the phone again. Kasai? Good morning.
Good morning, Shion-san. Are you going to school today?
Of course not. I feel miserable.
I kind of expected that. By the way, how are you getting back to Okionomiya? I can have someone come pick you up.
I think I can get a ride from Uncle Kimiyoshi or somebody else. Don't worry, I'll figure something out.
Your father told me to make sure you go to school often enough. I'd appreciate your cooperation.
I'll go when I feel like it. By the way, Kasai, did you hear?
About what?
You know, the incident from last night?
Yes, I have. How truly horrifying.
All the past victims were war criminals from the Dan conflict, right? But it's different this year. What do you think about that?
I don't really know.
Kasai wasn't the type to talk too much. If it was about something complicated, he usually responded like that. Do you know why those two fell into the curse of Otoshiro-sama?
No.
I heard this last night. Supposedly, they snuck into the ritual storehouse during the festival. They used a metal wire or something to unlock the door. Kasai went silent for a while. I held my breath while waiting to see how he responded. I expected him to say that he couldn't believe those people were chosen as victims for just sneaking into a storehouse. I expected him to say that it was just too unrealistic.
I see. That was stupid of them.
Huh? Since Toмотake-san was an outsider, I bet he didn't know. I went along with Kasai, but felt disturbed on the inside. Kasai didn't wonder why breaking into the ritual storehouse would justify their deaths. I had known Kasai for a long time, which is why I knew there was a heavy meaning to what he said. By the way, Kasai, actually, I did it too.
Did you go in?
Yeah.
You went into the ritual storehouse, Shion-san?
Yeah. Takano-san invited me. Takano-san, Toмотake-san, and remember Keiichi, who just moved here recently? Him and me, to make four of us. I heard Kasai sigh heavily. Even though he didn't say a word, I could tell he was shocked. I had never known him to act this way before.
Shion-san, don't you remember what happened last year? How do you think you can take care of this?
Last year it was 3 nails, so maybe 5 this year? Sorry. I wasn't trying to make light of the situation. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I regret it at least a little, but is it really that terrible of a thing to do?
You are related to the Sonozaki main family. Do you really think people would understand?
But I've been living in Okamiya all my life. Since the hag hated me, I've barely been to Hinamizawa. Besides, I was stuck at school. How would I know about any of that? I heard another sigh from Kasai. Kasai told me my excuses would be useless.
Shion-san, I am your ally. I want to support you as much as I can, but there are dangers that even I can't protect you from. Besides,
Sorry. Sis is here. I've got to go. See ya. Click. I ended up at Kasai and hung up. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear Kasai reject me. He who had been my ally all my life. Shit. Damn it. I could hear the sound of the cicadas. The sound made it feel like I was being cooked on a huge frying pan, making a sizzling noise. Couldn't help feeling remorseful. Now I knew that sneaking into the ritual storehouse wasn't a laughing matter. But I really didn't know it at the time. Sure, the door was locked, so they didn't want anyone to go in. But then why did they change the lock? What did they say? I think it was that Rika-chama said that the previous lock was too heavy for her, so she had it changed into that cheap one. That was how Takano-san broke in. If the heavy lock was still there, that wouldn't have happened. Slapped my own forehead. Huh! Then I took a deep breath. I had to calm down. What was the point of fussing now? I'd already passed the point of no return. There's no use thinking otherwise. The hag was already dead. Even if she wasn't, she was now at the bottom of the well. Therefore, it was already past the point where I could just cut my fingers off an apology. I felt so unstable. I'd walked on the fence around the swings at the park before, as if I was walking on a tightrope. It was fun because even if I fell, it was only a short distance. But it wouldn't have been fun if I were up really high. At the very moment, I was in fact already on a tightrope that was a lot higher than the fence at the park. As soon as I took a step, the rope behind me would vanish. I couldn't step back because there was nothing behind me. That was, in short, the current situation I found myself in. Just standing in one spot was all I could do. Even if I never took another step, I'd fall if I wasn't careful. If I forced myself to walk, the danger would only increase. But if I didn't move, I'd fall eventually. I couldn't see what was ahead of me. There was no guarantee I'd ever find firm ground. But if I stopped, there was only one fate waiting for me. I have to move onward. Staying here guaranteed death, and I'd rather try to walk, even if I died as a result. Even if there was a dead end ahead of me, at least I tried my hardest. In general, I try to be optimistic. I could accept my life not lasting particularly long, but I wouldn't go easily. I'd struggle as much as possible. She'd been playing dead so she could communicate with Kiyoshi through telepathy. Sure! I'd already killed the hag. For that, there could be no other punishment than death. I knew my life would end soon. In other words, I was actually already dead. A dead person has nothing to lose. That means I can only go on the offensive. I clenched my fist tightly as I muttered. Even if I had to die, I couldn't die easily. This was my chance to avenge Satoshi-kun. Who did it, for what purpose, and why? I was going to investigate. I was going to question. I was going to expose. Yes, I was going to settle the score. I could carry out the plan I came up with yesterday. I could hide the hag's death somehow. All I had to do was say that she hadn't been feeling well since Watanagashi. I could do it all while pretending to be Mion, just in case her friends to school became suspicious. Maybe I'd start telling them that I hadn't been feeling well either. In fact, I did feel groggy from the lack of sleep. When I became Mion, Shion would automatically disappear. I had already told Kasai that I snuck into the shrine storage, so I'd probably end up telling people that I was demoned away due to the curse of Otoshiro-sama. The last person I'd have to think about was the fourth person who was stuck into the ritual storehouse, Keiichi Maebara. Maybe I should use him as bait to lure out the enemy. Sorry, Kei-chan, you're going to be my bait. I felt a little bad, since I was starting to like him. With all that figured out, let's go to school. I'd gone to school as Mion before, so I knew how things worked. It was almost time to leave the house. Mii-chan, you're late. Ha. You waited? You should have just gone on ahead. That's Keiichi. This is Keiichi.
Keiichi lines.
You got Keiichis.
I have furry Keiichi lines.
No, I think you're good.
Hey, Mio, your face is red. You're breathing heavily, too.
I ran the whole way here. Mii-chan, are you not feeling well? I'm gonna put her hand on my forehead. Venna, your hand is pretty cold. Mii-chan, you're a little bit warm. It's no big deal. Give it a half a day and I'll be as fit as a fiddle.
Are you really okay? You don't have to push yourself, you know.
What's this? Kei-chan, are you worried about me? That's nice of you. I always thought he was a goofball, so I was a little surprised. I thought they would tease me, but they didn't. I just think you shouldn't push yourself so hard. We can tell the teacher you had to take the day off. I'm fine. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Haba. You moved right when Keiichi had a line.
Dang it. 1 second.
Okay. Just having trouble there. Uh-oh. I was gonna say, is the cord not working? You having trouble?
That first one's been acting up. Alrighty. Continue on.
Yeah.
Okay then. Let's go. Don't overdo it. But of course, there's the time.
Ah! We need to run or we won't make it! This morning got pretty thrilling. Maybe it's just when I need to shake off the sluggishness. Let's run! President, if you would. Everybody stand up. Attention. I made the same mistake before. I never learned, do I? Do you think Meichan is doing okay? She doesn't look good. Oh, really? How unfortunate. It was a good idea to make them believe I was sick. Even if I did things differently from Mion, I had an excuse.
Well, girls have those days when I just don't feel well.
I don't have those days. Mion's friends keep each other occupied and left me alone. Keiichi Maribara. You might suddenly disappear one day. I couldn't let that happen. It'd be like letting a fish take the bait and swim away while I was fast asleep with a fishing pole in my hand. Couldn't miss the moment the enemy took a bite out of Keiichi. I had to be very careful. There's a cat here! But it was impossible to keep my eyes on him 24 hours a day. Spying on him at school like this wasn't good enough. Should I have him meet with Shion and let her explain that he's in danger? Maybe we could set up a strategy together. I didn't think Keiichi realized how serious a crime it was to step into the ritual storehouse. I hadn't, after all. Since last year, all the incidents that related to the curse were probably being investigated in secret. People involved with the three families would know about the incident from last night, but Keiichi shouldn't know anything. If he knew where he stood now, he'd be more cautious too. That should make him aware of his surroundings. And maybe he'd notice if anything odd took place. The teacher caught him sleeping, so she ordered him to go wash his face. He walked down the hallway. I was sleepy too. I had to be alert, but I couldn't clear my mind due to my lack of sleep. I decided to go home early. Since I had been pretending to be sick since morning, my request was approved. As I exited the building, I saw Keiichi washing his face. I thought you'd be out here. It feels better outside, huh?
Oh, well. Huh? Mion? No cutting class now.
It felt refreshing for him to wash his face with cold water. I washed my face too, but it didn't feel as good as it looked.
Mion, how's your cold doing? You're sleepy because of the medicine. You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from a lack of sleep? Yeah?
Actually, this is a secret. But after the festival yesterday, I got wrapped up in the party my relatives were having. And, well, I had a bit. Gulp. Pretended to drink with an invisible glass.
Are you hungover? How old are you?
Keiichi exaggerated his reaction, but he still seemed worried.
Okay, later. I'm going back. Be careful on your way home. Don't wobble into a sewer and Brooke got it.
Keiichi turned around to go back to the classroom. Oh, one more thing, Kei-chan. I stopped Keiichi. He, in response, turned around.
What's up?
This may sound weird, but don't think too hard about it.
Well, that depends on what it is.
Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Tomotake-san or Takano-san anywhere? I noticed Keiichi's body tense up. His reaction proved that he felt guilty about sneaking into the ritual storehouse. He was frightened that Mion Sonozaki might know about it. I guess this was enough to give him a certain impression of Mion Sonozaki. You know Tomotake-san and Takano-san, don't you? You remember, Kei-chan, when the four of you were talking during the setup the day before? I could clearly see how dismayed Keiichi felt. He was trying to come up with an excuse.
I can't remember. I might have seen him or not.
He was both a bad liar and a bad actor. He wasn't really that intelligent at all. Well, that would make him a suitable friend for Mion. He was just a brat, unlike Satoshi-kun. Although, when it came to lying and acting, Satoshi-kun was just about at the same level. Maybe Keiichi should be credited at least trying to tell a lie. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have even said a thing. I didn't need to be thinking about him right now. I see. Then one more question. On the same night, did you see Shion? This is a very mean question. Keiichi was perplexed, as I expected.
Didn't you ask me that yesterday? I think I told you that I wasn't sure if I had or not.
Eh? I asked him that yesterday? It must have meant that Mion Sonozaki asked him that question. In other words, she asked him that if he had left the storehouse to go back together with his friends. Damn you, Mion! When I asked her, she said she had no idea we went to the ritual storehouse. Shit. Did you? I guess I just thought I got a different answer if I asked you again.
Why are you so annoying if I did or not?
He was getting defensive. Keiichi couldn't hide his panic as he flared it up at me. It's not important. It's just that there were some people who were speaking poorly of Tomotake-san, Takano-san, Shion, and you, Kei-chan. I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. Keiichi was really perplexed now. It wasn't fun at all. But it could still be an interesting game. I don't believe that you were doing something bad. I just wanted to ask a bit about it. So I did. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, okay? I made sure Keiichi felt a sense of crisis, then left. Shion, that's mean.
That's rude.
Nobody can tell us apart. We're Shion and Mion, perfect twins. Shion, that there rude. When I returned to the Sonosaki main house, I saw a woman with an apron on. It was a housekeeper. Her name was Shimiko-san. The hag had a few housekeepers who took care of the chores around the house. Oh, Mion-chan, I'm glad you're here. Hey, Shimiko-san. Can I help you? Today was her turn to come help at the house. She'd arrived, but the gate was locked and she couldn't get in. She called, but there was no answer, so she had just been standing there, not knowing what to do. Something must have happened to Granny at the festival. She's been in an evil mood ever since last night. Ah, I see. Shimiko-san tried to remember if she had done something wrong. She isn't ignoring you, she's just sleeping. She was up until very late last night, so I bet she can't wake up yet. You know how she is, right? Once she gets into this mood, it'll take a long time for her to be happy again. Yes, that's too bad. I think it might be better that you don't show up for a while. Even if you don't mean to upset her, Granny might take it the wrong way. Just let me take care of it. I see. Are you sure? I'm very grateful, though. Sorry to make you do this, but could you let the other housekeepers know that they don't need to come for a while either? When Granny feels better, I'll give you a call. So let's just leave her alone for now. Shimiko-san bowed and then left on her bicycle. Anyone that has ever experienced Granny's wrath might understand. I headed into Mion's room, set her alarm clock for 2 p.m. and crawled into her bed. I needed to recover quickly. I needed to be sharp, calm, and cool-headed. School should be out by 2 p.m. Maybe I'd get in touch with Keiichi. I had to call him. There would be a staff meeting at the Fude Shrine Assembly Hall in the evening. All the leaders of the three families, their relatives, and the town council members would gather at this meeting. They were all authoritative figures in Hinamizawa. I'd be attending in place of the hag who was sick. I'd worry about the rest when I got there. People shouldn't notice that Mion and the hag were missing for a long time. I didn't need to worry, so I had plenty of time. I checked the alarm once more, then fell asleep as if someone switched me off. Ah, phone! Hello? This is Sonozaki. Well, the younger one. Hello? Do you have time to talk right now? I think it's Keiichi, actually, if I remember this correctly.
Shion, I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion.
What? My sis had a hangover? That's so like her. Keiichi had no idea that Mion we saw earlier was actually me. He didn't notice when we talked in person, so there was no way he would notice on the phone. I never knew that playing two roles would be so much fun. To feel such enjoyment in this game of life or death, maybe I was getting used to this situation. Or maybe my senses had gone numb.
Whoops, sorry. My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long. What do you need?
There's something I wanted to talk to you about, but if we can't talk too long, I guess that's that.
Then how about we meet in person? I think the lines are reversed.
No?
Oh. If you could show me where the library is too, that'd be great.
You mean the public library near the station? Yeah, that's fine. I go past there on my way to work anyway. We decided to meet in Okiyamiya. It wasn't easy to get there from Hinamizawa, but I had to hurry. I couldn't run into Keiichi as he was heading there himself. We called the key to the hag's motorcycle while she was in her secret drawer. The hag usually got driven around for public events, but when she was doing her own errands, she rode her motorcycle. Jesus Christ, that old lady rode a fucking motorcycle?
She looks so old and
frail.
Oh
my god!
She looks like a walking skeleton. How the heck does she do that?
Keiichi assumed was going to ride his bicycle. I tried to get to Okiyamiya before he did. Keiichi arrived quite a bit later than me. Motorcycles are faster after all. There was hardly any traffic lights to worry about on the way there either.
Wow, Mion never keeps her appointments. I mean, honestly.
Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble.
You're a little unsteady. You were drinking last night too, weren't you? Don't try to hide it. You definitely went home from school early.
Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day from the beginning. I'm smarter than my sister after all.
Hey now, I don't think you can call plain hooky smarter.
You should finish your errand first. We don't have that much time. You're going to the library, right?
Yeah, thanks. My mom had to return some books by today. Is the library far?
No, it's right nearby. I meant it when I said we didn't have much time. I had to hurry a little. I was just going to talk to him on the phone, but I ended up coming all the way to Okiyamiya. After our talk, Keiichi would slowly head back to Hinamizawa on his bicycle. I'd have to rush back there while making sure I didn't run into him. Otherwise, I couldn't make it up in time for the meeting. Maybe I could be a little late. But since I needed to hear everything that was going to be discussed, I didn't want to be. This was the Shishibon Public Library. It was sizable, filled with a collection of moldy, smelly books. But they did have air conditioning, and it was quiet. It was the perfect place for when you wanted to be alone. After Satoshi-kun disappeared last year, I came here a lot to think about various things. This is where I first met Takano-san. I didn't want to run into her with Keiichi in tow, but then I remembered that she was already dead. The first floor of the building was occupied by the government offices. The library itself was on the second floor, so we had to walk up a huge staircase to get there. It tasted cool air on my skin as soon as I walked through the automated doors. Unlike outside, it was very quiet in here. The room temperature was both comfortable and suitable for books. I could smell the scent of old pages. Because Granny's not your average old lady, you see.
Oh, the library smells the same.
Keiichi walked up to the return table after he said so. Because it was a weekday, there was hardly anyone around. It really was very quiet. I was going to chat about some ordinary things, and move on to the main subject. After Keiichi returned with the books, I invited him into the intersection of the library. Keiichi knew Mian well, but he didn't know me at all. He showed an interest in our life story. It's exactly where Takano-san told me about the true history of Hinamizawa a year ago. I was about to tell Keiichi about things that were very similar to that. Did God have a sense of irony?
Now that you mention it, that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well. Does that mean they operate Angel Mart too?
I told him the reason why the Sonozaki family was so powerful in this area. I assumed that since Keiichi came from the city, there was a good chance he didn't even begin to understand how one old family could literally control an entire area. Unless I explained to him how powerful the Sonozaki family was, he wouldn't understand what kind of danger was barreling toward him. The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate. Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either had the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives. There are Sonozakis in the city council and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okiyamiya area giving them strong electoral support.
Wait a minute. This is all escalating pretty quickly. Your relatives operate shops in downtown Okiyamiya and are especially strong in finance and real estate. On top of that, a lot of people in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and are even some elected officials.
Keiichi counted on his fingers. He was clearly surprised to hear all that about the Sonozaki family. He seemed respectable enough to even accept, even though that sounded outrageous to him. He was starting to understand things, although slowly. The way he viewed Shion Sonozaki was changing a little by little too. That should be enough background information. Now I could go on to explain about Mion Sonozaki, the successor. Then I changed the subject like Takano-san did with me. I'd go on to talk about the curse of Otoshiro-sama and the series of mysterious deaths.
So then, the Sonozaki family. It's pretty famous in this area.
Ah, Oshi!
Ah!
Yep, crazy, isn't it? The fat man with cigarettes on the cut of our conversation. Oshi? Why was he here?
Hello!
Good afternoon. Are you on a date today? What I would give to be young again. If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us, Oshi-san? What timing? It couldn't be coincidence. I knew this man too well. He was crafty, sly, and clever. His presence here just can't be coincidence. Did he see us somewhere in town and follow us? But why? Did he need something from me, Keiichi, or perhaps to both of us? From what I could guess, I didn't think it was me he wanted something from. It's almost like he was trying to keep Keiichi away from me. Oshi was aware of how I gave false testimony to protect Satoshi-kun last year. Maybe he didn't think he could talk to Keiichi if I was around. Why did Oshi need to talk to Keiichi? It must be about the incident from yesterday. Sure, there was plenty of plainclothes officers in the festival, so they had to have seen who was last with the victims. In other words, Keiichi and me. But Oshi knew I was hard to deal with. That's why he was focusing on Keiichi at present. Why did he have to show up at a time like this? My Bada-san, right? You're one tough guy. Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you?
No, I'm not two-timing anyone.
Sure. Keiichi looked at me, hoping for assistance. He blushed. The wee panic reminded me of Satoshi-kun. Had a sigh, this wasn't going well. Oshi might even start talking about my relationship with Satoshi-kun. I didn't want him to do that, nor did I want Keiichi to have any preconceptions. Oshi took a quick glance at me. His eyes told me something. He was purposely talking about things I'd rather not talk about. He was basically telling me to leave, or he continued on to something that was worse than what they were currently talking about. He didn't use words, but his eyes clearly communicated that anyway. Damn that big fat weasel! I'm sorry, Kei-chan. I really do need to get to my job.
Huh? Oh, you do?
I realized that I wouldn't achieve anything like this, even if I stayed longer. So I used my part-time job as an excuse to leave. Oh, she looked at me and grinned. Damn it! He won today, but I'll win next time. Fuck you!
Wait, didn't you have something to talk about today, Shion?
Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done. It'll be okay to call at night, right?
Yeah, probably okay.
Then I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye! Bye! Oh, he's out. Whoop! Yes, it kind of does make it look like he's constantly having lights shined in his face. The hag's motorcycle had become my primary means of transportation. My next stop was a staff meeting at the Fudere Shrine's Assembly Hall. It was easy to imagine how a normal meeting would play out if it was just celebrating the end of Watsunagashi. But today's staff meeting was likely going to be as strained as the Sonosaki family cancels. Yes, this staff meeting was dealing with the heart of Hinamizawa. I couldn't let my guard down even for a moment. I rested for a while at the house, and then left for the meeting. I walked up the long stairs to the Fudere Shrine. At the top, I saw some elderly men smoking out in front of the hall. Since they had a minor fire a long time ago, it had been made into a non-smoking area. Is that Mion-chan? The head of the Kimiyoshi family, Uncle Kimiyoshi, noticed me and waved. He must not have expected Mion to come alone. Normally it would have been either the hag by herself or Mion tagging along as an assistant. Granny's been in a terrible mood since the incident last night. She's been staying in bed and won't even let me get near her. They all understood how troublesome she was when she was in a bad mood. They smiled bitterly in sympathy. So you're here as the Sonosaki family representative then? Has Onryu-san told you anything? Sort of. What did he mean, has Onryu-san told you anything? That line by itself didn't really explain much. The staff meeting was usually led by the mayor, the head of the Kimiyoshi family, and he asked me, as a substitute for the Sonosaki family head, if I had heard anything from her. I then realized who was supposed to lead today's staff meeting. Oh, no, Kimiyoshi-san, do I really have to lead the meeting today? According to the ranking order in the family councils, any substitute for the Sonosaki family head is above the Kimiyoshi family head. In other words, I have to lead today's meeting. There's no way I could do that. Ah, don't worry, I'll do it. You can just take a seat, Mion-chan. If there's something you've heard from Onryu-san, just let us know, okay? Kimiyoshi-san, why don't we get started? Everyone's here now. The smokers put out their cigarettes and went back into the hall. The tables were set in a horseshoe shape, and I was told to sit next to the chair reserved for the chief. The seat opposite mine was empty. Considering its location, it was probably for the Fudere family head, Rika Fudere. But somebody had said earlier that everybody was already here. Either Rika-chama had already called an absent, or the empty seat was just a formality. Knowing the subject of this meeting, I didn't think that the Fudere family head would even want to attend. Even if Rika-chama actually attended, she wouldn't be able to say anything. All she'd usually do at the Sonosaki family councils was draw pictures on a notepad. She'd probably end up drawing pictures in this meeting, too. Besides, they probably didn't want her to hear anything unpleasant. In this way, the empty Fudere family seat was easily explained. When everyone was seated, the head of the Women's Association served tea. She gave me an evil look, trying to tell me to help out. I got up and did so. After that, everybody fell quiet, and the secretary stood up. Everyone, thank you for coming today on such short notice, despite your busy schedules. Let us start with a few words from the mayor. Go ahead, please. Oh, please excuse me for staying seated. Kei-chan, you can stay seated too. Thank you all for coming today. Also, you all did a great job at the Watsunagashi yesterday. The festival was a great success as usual. There weren't any mishaps. Lots of villagers came, and I believe it went great, on the whole. Let me see, how many people was it? According to the Imperial General Headquarters report, approximately 5,000 people showed up. Wahahaha. Everyone laughed except me. I hope we'll continue to work together to carry on this tradition. I appreciate your cooperation. Pachi, 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 pachi. Applause with only 8 people doesn't sound so great. Okay, let's move on to today's proceedings. Kimiyoshi-san will lead the meeting today. Please applaud if you approve. Pachi, 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 pachi. Thank you. Then, with your approval, Mayor Kimiyoshi will take over. Please go ahead. Thank you, Ken-chan. Let's get started now. Sorry, could you close the curtain? Everyone closed the curtains nearest to them. The sun was still up, but all the curtains closed. The room became very dark. The village chief explained the details of the incident, as well as to what went on with the police. A police vehicle discovered Toмотake-san's body on its way back to Okiyamiya last night. Oshi's special curse unit was standing by, expecting something to happen for the 5th time, so they responded quickly. Since Toмотake-san and Takano-san were rarely apart, Oshi got in touch with the neighboring prefectural police departments and asked them to look for her. As a result, they found a buried body of a woman in the mountains of the Gifu prefecture, and the body of that was identified as Mion Takano. Considering the circumstances, the police ended up labeling the incident as the 5th of the ongoing series of mysterious deaths. When he finished, there was dead silence. I watched to see who would speak first. Nobody said a thing. Then I noticed Kimiyoshi-san looking at me. This is where the head of the Sonozaki family would speak. Mion-chan, has Onryo-san said anything about this whole thing? Everyone looked in my direction. I was sure that they could see the hag in me. I'm Mion Sonozaki, acting as head of the Sonozaki family. I'm here in place of Onryo, the current head. Thank you for having me. I became Mion. I tried to become as cold and unfeeling as Mion I had witnessed a year ago. That cold version of Mion was inside of me. That was me. I was her. Unfortunately, the curse of Odashiro-sama has come to pass for the 5th time. This is deeply regretful. Everyone is held captive by my words. I wasn't a little girl anymore. The hag was speaking through my mouth. They all heard me and trembled in fear. Does anyone know why the curse happened again this year? After my question, everyone whispered to each other. I will tell you. It's because they broke the rule of the ritual storehouse and desecrated the sacred ground within. How dare they! A few elderly men got up and yelled. The fools! I can't believe this. They deserve to be killed. Oh, Yoshiro-sama, please calm your anger. Oh my, how did this happen? Oh, Yoshiro-sama. This is why we hate outsiders. They just don't think. They're just too stupid. They got what they deserved. It was their own fault. The angry old men yelled even as they trembled in fear. The sudden change scared me more than a little. Even Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was usually so gentle and sweet, became like a demon of war, cursing those who broke the rule of the ritual storehouse. It had become like a raging ocean inside the assembly hall. Their yells spun around like a whirlpool. They roared, crashed, and howled. Even while doing nothing but watch, I could still feel myself turning pale. Mion threatened me yesterday, and Kasai had been shocked this morning. What I saw before me was similar to that. Even the sweet and gentle Uncle Kimiyoshi was saying they deserved to die. I was fearful of the sudden change in those elderly men. More than anything, the fact that they all believed that those people deserved to die for trespassing is what terrified me. It wasn't just that, of course. The real thing I was scared of was that I was one of the people they wanted dead. In other words, it was almost like they were telling me to die of the curse. If they were to find out I snuck into the ritual storehouse, it was very possible that they would strangle me on the spot. Actually, they might not kill me that easily. By then, I was certain. The people in this room were true believers of Odashiro-sama, just like the hag. They wouldn't hesitate to murder whoever made Odashiro-sama angry on their behalf. Even if they didn't carry out the killing themselves, they would pretend they didn't see anything. Yes, even if my head was cut off right in front of them. Everyone here would act in collusion and say that I never attended it today. They'd all testify that they waited, and I didn't show that I'd been demoned away. Everything okay over there?
Yeah.
It'd be far too easy for them to erase someone and make them disappear. There was no mistake. The people linking the hag and the curse were definitely here at this meeting. I continued speaking. I was Mion Sonozaki. I was on the side responsible for the curse. Therefore, at the moment, I didn't need to worry about anything. Nobody could tell the difference between Mion and me. That's what would keep me safe. Please be silent. Hey! Quiet down! Uncle Kimiyoshi helped me to quiet everyone, but his tone was violent. It really scared me. Everyone eventually became quiet. In fact, it was 4 people who snuck into the storehouse. 2 more remain. People once more became restless upon hearing that, but Uncle Kimiyoshi yelled at them again and they settled down. Toмотake-san and Takano-san are old enough to make responsible for their own poor judgment. As a result, the curse of Odashiro-sama fell upon them immediately, but the other 2 were simply children. The curse is yet to fall upon them, but there will be some kind of punishment. Everyone stayed quiet that time. They had all turned genuinely pale, trying not to miss a word I said. After all, they were all thinking that the kids I mentioned could be their own relatives, or even grandchildren. They wanted to know who they were, to put their minds at ease. The other two who snuck into the ritual storehouse were Shion Sonozaki and Keiichi Maribara. I could feel the air getting drier. It was so dry it almost felt like it was going to start making a crackling noise. Shion Sonozaki has already... I couldn't even hear the old people breathe. I took a peek at Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was sitting next to me. He adored Shion, as if she were his own granddaughter, but she had been demoned away. I wanted to see how distressed or sad he'd look. And when I looked at his face, I felt a sensation on my back, as if my skin itself was making a crackling noise. He didn't even have an expression on his face. Uncle Kimiyoshi adored me. I loved him. I thought he loved me too. That's why I expected him to be saddened after hearing that I had met such a cruel fate. What was I thinking? The memory of his warm smile shattered inside of me. There was no way of describing the fear I experienced in that moment in mere words. He had suddenly changed into someone I didn't even recognize. Uncle Kimiyoshi noticed me looking at him and spoke. What about Keiichi Maribara? Not yet. I had to take a deep breath to regain my composure. All four who stuck into the ritual storehouse will suffer the curse of Otoshiro-sama. Keiichi Maribara is no exception. Chilling looks, cruel looks, emotionless looks, shrewd looks, and the looks of people who were about to snap. I could feel the demons chewing my words while they stared at me with those sharp eyes. I could see some of them sticking their snake-like tongues out in and out. I could see the flames in some of their eyes. They were memorizing the names of the intruder the curse had yet to fall upon. And so the meeting went on. We were told not to tell the police too much, to report what they asked us, and to hold another meeting whenever something of significance happened. If something insignificant took place, we were to get in touch. Unexpected took place, we were either to get in touch with the Kimiyoshi family or the head of the Sonozaki family for instructions on what to do. With those closing remarks, the meeting was over. No, absolutely not. No. It was already getting dark outside. Being in a valley surrounded by mountains, once the sun went down in Hinamizawa, it got dark quickly. Even if it was hot during the day, it cooled quickly at night. The elderly people said goodbye to each other and left on their bicycles, on their motorcycles, or in their cars. Uncle Kimiyoshi waved them goodbye and started to head home himself. I called out to him, Kimiyoshi-san, do you have plans after this? I called him Kimiyoshi-san instead of Uncle Kimiyoshi. He stopped. No, I don't have anything planned. Can you stop by my house? Does Onryu-san want to see me? Yes. She wants to talk to you about something in person. Okay, I'll stop by. Uncle Kimiyoshi arrived at the Sonozaki house. He often came to the house to have secret meetings with the hag, so he wasn't suspicious at all. I invited Uncle Kimiyoshi into the living room, served him a cup of tea, and told him I was going to fetch the hag. I left the room and killed some time down the hallway. Granny will be here after she gets dressed. She might take a little while. Oh, that's okay. I'll just wait. Uncle Kimiyoshi relaxed as he sipped his cup of tea. I sat next to him. I think she wants to talk to you about Shion. I mentioned my name and waited for his reaction. Uncle Kimiyoshi looked so grim. I couldn't even tell if he heard me. I decided to continue speaking until he reacted in some way. Remember the incident from last year with Shion, yes? She became friendly with the people of the Hojo family. She was forgiven after ripping out her nails, wasn't she? Yes, 3 nails. Kimiyoshi folded his arms and thought for a while. Where is Shion-chan now? In the basement. How is she doing? Kimiyoshi sounded worried. When I heard that, I felt relieved that Uncle Kimiyoshi was on my side. His anger in the assembly hall was just an act. She had been crying. Mion-chan, tell me, what is Onryu-san going to do with Shion-chan? She hasn't told me any details. As you know, Granny becomes awfully quiet when she's truly furious. Going into the ritual storehouse, huh? Furthermore, it's her own granddaughter. That's a tough decision to make. Uncle Kimiyoshi thought that the hag must be unsure what to do with Shion. What do you think? What do you think will happen to Shion? Well, I'm sure it'll be far more than just 3 nails this time. Knowing how Onryu-san is, she won't hold back just because it's her granddaughter. Actually, she might be more harsh, especially because they're related. Yes, she did go to the ritual storehouse. That's not something that can be forgiven so easily. Indeed. It's sacred, after all. But in a way, maybe it's not fair to Shion. She's been away from Hinamizawa, as you know. I'm sure she knew she wasn't supposed to trespass in the ritual storehouse. But maybe she didn't know how forbidden it was. Yeah, that's true. Poor Shion-chan. Other than the tattoo on my back, how would you tell the difference between Shion and me? There isn't one. There's no point in distinguishing between Mion and Shion in the first place. Bless you!
Ugh.
Twins are proof of bad luck. One should be eliminated as soon as they are born. Such is the family precept. The hag actually put her hands around my neck right after I came out of the womb. That's how the story went, at least. In the end, the hag didn't kill me, but instead pretended I didn't exist. She forced herself to call one of us Mion and the other Shion. She adored Mion and hated Shion. My sister and I never understood why we had to go through that. We didn't care who was Mion or Shion. So one day, we came up with an idea. We decided to share the joy Mion experienced and the sadness Shion experienced. We often switched places. We were both Mion at the same time, and we were both Shion. Adults around us tried to put different clothes on us or style our hair differently so they could tell us apart. That was nonsense. No matter what they did to us, all we had to do was switch places, and nobody could tell us apart. Finally decided that we switched places because we were always together. On that day, Shion got to go to an amusement park. Since then, we've been separated. Mion-chan. I can't even imagine what will happen to Shion. Whatever it is Granny decides to do, I'm not in a position to say anything about it. She doesn't listen to her relatives. You're right. That's something Onryu-san needs to work on. If Shion wasn't Shion Sonozaki, she would have been dead a long time ago. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of punishment might be equal to death. Even if she isn't killed, she'll probably never see the light of day again. In other words, she'll be demoned away. Mion-chan. Does Shion-chan regret what she had done? Yes. In response, Uncle Kimiyoshi tapped my shoulder and slapped his own chest. He smiled reliably. Don't worry. If Shion-chan feels bad about what she has done, she won't be demoned away. Leave it to me. Really? I'm sure Onryu-san will be furious to hear me say anything. But I won't give up. I'll explain to her that Shion-chan regrets what she has done, and I'll beg for her forgiveness. Tears began to fall from my eyes. I knew it. Uncle Kimiyoshi was my ally after all. He said he would forgive Shion. He was my ally. I was so very happy. Are you sure? Are you sure she won't be demoned away like Satoshi Hojo was last year? Uncle Kimiyoshi reliably again told me. He was a brat of the Hojo family. This is Shion-chan of the Shion Sonozaki family we're talking about here. Of course she'll be forgiven. Huh? A brat of the Hojo family? Are you talking about Satoshi-kun, last year's victim? Those Hojo people, they were traitors who tried to sell out the whole village. Of course he got demoned away. He was a Hojo after all. Huh? 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 The Hojo people should all be cursed. Only people like them get demoned away. Shion-chan will be okay. It won't happen to someone like her. Uncle, didn't Shion take care of that for Satoshi-kun last year? Wasn't he supposed to be forgiven? Take care of that? What do you mean? Remember? 3 nails. She moved 3 of her nails. Kasai-san, Uncle Yashiro, and then Satoshi-kun. 3 people. She moved 3 nails for 3 people. Huh? So that's why it was 3 nails, huh? Huh? What? Wasn't that the significance of the 3 nails? Yes, you're right. There were 3 people involved, hence the 3 nails. I heard that too. But what? Kasai-san, Yoshiro-san, and Shion-chan. That makes 3. What? Huh? What? Huh? What? I endured excruciating pain. The first one was my left pinky, then the ring finger, and then the middle finger. People held me down so I couldn't move, but I endured. I had to endure 3 nails. I didn't know which nail was for Satoshi-kun. If my middle finger was for Satoshi-kun, I'd have to endure until the middle finger was done so that Satoshi-kun could be forgiven. That's why I endured. Even Mion said afterwards, everything was forgiven. Huh? Uh-huh. Mion, didn't you say Satoshi-kun is forgiven? Didn't you? That's what I heard. I think that's what I heard. Or did I? Huh? I felt the air move. There shouldn't have been a breeze in that room, but I felt it anyway. Cold air stroked the back of my neck. That was when my true self stood right behind me and nodded. Although there was no wind, my hair billowed. The burning wickedness burned deep inside my eyes became visible. Why do you think Satoshi Hojo-kun got demoned away? Huh? Satoshi-kun's parents did in fact try to sell out the village. They deserve the curse of Odashiro-sama. But Satoshi-kun is simply their son. What has he done? Mion-chan? I'm asking you what kind of crime Satoshi-kun committed. You said earlier that he deserved to be demoned away because he's born of the Hojo family. What has he done to deserve being demoned away? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say to the sudden question. He felt dismayed. I didn't hear her say it, but I know. It was Onryu Sonozaki's decision. She decided that the curse of Onishiro-sama should fall upon all the Hojos. Wait, Mion-chan, that's not true. Didn't she decide that? No, she didn't. The curse of Otoshiro-sama was falling upon the Hojo family. I do remember talking about something like that, but we never decided that. Nobody did. Then why did you say because he was one of the Hojos earlier? Sorry, Mion-chan. That was... I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. That's just it. Anything that happens to the Hojo family is the curse. As long as someone has the Hojo name, nobody cares about what happens to that person. That idea has spread like a virus amongst all the villagers. It doesn't matter if Satoshi-kun did anything or not. Because he was a Hojo, he's filthy. That infection of an idea is entirely the problem. And you all believed in that idea. You couldn't even think straight anymore. I can't forgive you. I can't let someone like you exist. People like you cornered Satoshi-kun and his family. Poor Satoshi-kun. What has he done? He hasn't done anything. He was a Hojo, that's all. What kind of a crime is that? Why did the curse fall upon him? What kind of crime has he committed? Kimiyoshi's upper body bent backwards and fell onto the floor. That was that. I put my stun gun back into my pocket. Phone. It's phone. Sorry, Shion. What was it that you just said? Oh, wait, that would have been, Keiichi. Whoops. Apparently, Takano-san and Tomotage-san died last night. Takano-san was found burned to death. Tomotage-san, well, it looked like a suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my father talking to a relative on the phone about it. Because I thought Keiichi didn't know anything about what happened at the festival last night. Of course, it's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past, too. Keiichi insisted that unless he heard about it on the news, it couldn't be real. But the investigations onto the series of mysterious deaths was done in secret now. Of course he didn't hear about it on the news. I hear the mayor and several important politicians in the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police.
Then, their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy?
That's how it is. Of course the police are still investigating. That's being performed in secret too, though. So I hear the investigation itself is very restrictive what it can and can't do. You could essentially say they're interfering with the police investigation.
I can't believe this. People are, and yet they're dealing with everything in secret?
If they break it down further, it means that no matter who dies the night of Watanagashi, it won't go public.
That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard.
Kei-chan, remember how I said before, the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oshiro-sama's curse? That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Watanagashi. Yes, that's the truth about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Otoshiro-sama's curse. On the day of Watanagashi, 2 people will be killed. The perpetrators are using the curse of Otoshiro-sama as an excuse to kill one victim and make another disappear. That's why the curse of Otoshiro-sama takes place. That's what happens in Hinamizawa. That's what happens with the curse. What Kimiyoshi said is all true. Infecting everyone with that idea that the enemy from the Dan conflict deserves to die was the root of all of this. That was a system of vague commands used from the Sonozaki family, created by its head, Onryu. One thing that must be mentioned about that command system is that the person giving the orders and the one executing them didn't need to interact in any way. Although Onryu was the commander, she never gave actual orders. She only had to expect something to happen. Every single one of the family council members around her would just want to satisfy that expectation if given the chance. They didn't have to be proactive about satisfying it. They could be passive too. But when the chance arose, anyone who knew Onryu's intentions potentially become the one to execute her orders. Therefore, Onryu would never know who actually executed her order. None of the relatives knew it either. But they all knew things would conclude just as Onryu wanted, and they could assume it was one of their own who did it for her. This passive support system was thoroughly effective and spread all over the village. The ties became even tighter after the Dan conflict. Anyone could be the one to execute Onryu's orders. Therefore, everyone supported each other. If someone did something, the others would try to satisfy Onryu's expectations in different ways. For example, they'd come up with false evidence, or otherwise passively interfere with an investigation. And if they didn't know exactly who they were protecting, they would still work together to protect whoever it was. Yes, I had finally figured out how it all worked. Phrased in a more organized manner, it would go as follows. The system of killing 2 people who were unwanted by the village every year required 3 elements. The first element was a region of solidarity. It was created during the long and unique history of Hinamizawa. The villagers' bonds became even tighter during the dam conflict. That was one of the conditions of this place to have a curse. That was an element that was already in the region, not one that could be created. The second element was having the same moral standards. This is a very important element, as the curse wouldn't happen without it. Also, this element was created by Onryu Sonozaki herself. That was why she could claim that this system was established by her own will. Having the same moral standards, that means that everyone else acknowledges the same enemy. Even when everyone in the village joined together, it would be meaningless if they didn't all know exactly who the enemy was. During the dam conflict, Onryu Sonozaki made the identity of the enemy very clear to everyone. They couldn't just say that they were against the dam construction and the government was their enemy. That wasn't clear enough. The government didn't really pinpoint who the enemy was, but Onryu made enemies out of the construction site itself. Therefore, its manager. She chose targets as the village would see with their own eyes. They were clear and easy to understand. The villagers acknowledged that everyone at the dam construction site was their enemy, and that the construction site manager was the enemy commander. Using the same method, she labeled one after another as an enemy of the village, practically cataloging a list of enemies to print into the villagers' minds. Earlier, I had used the term infected for this phenomenon. Those infected by this idea were the people unconsciously given the orders to commit murder. When the infection spread across the village, when all of Hinamizawa residents acknowledged the same enemy, that's when Hinamizawa itself became a murderer. Onryu combined those two elements, a solitary region, and having the same moral standards, then selected the enemy and spread that notion throughout the village. The law would normally have punished both the one who committed the crime and the one who gave the order, but Onryu's system didn't require an order at all. Onryu just had to become concerned about the enemy she had pre-selected. That alone wouldn't cause the curse to take place. Onryu's concern was just a safety device, and even when the safety device was off, the curse wouldn't occur unless there was a finger to pull the trigger. The last necessary element was to set a date for the execution, the night of Watanagashi, the night to venerate Onoshiro-sama, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. On that night, the curse of Onoshiro-sama falls upon two enemies of the village and they disappear. Everyone in the village acknowledged that as a fact. In other words, if the same incident took place any of the other 364 nights of the year, it would be nothing more than a murder case. But if it happened on the night of Watanagashi, then it would be transformed into the curse of Onoshiro-sama. The idea that villagers are allowed to kill their enemies on the night of Watanagashi has infected them. The villagers were the cells of this huge creature called Hinamizawa, and each cell would be taught who the enemy was. The set date was basically a green light for whoever was in the best position to kill the enemy. That was the truth of the curse of Onoshiro-sama. Therefore, the one who actually killed Satoshi-kun wasn't my enemy. The one who set up this murderous system and the one who named Satoshi-kun's family as the enemy is my enemy. To use a broad definition, Hinamizawa itself and the very system of Onoshiro-sama's curse is my enemy. I already killed the hag, the one who designed the system. Kumiyoshi, the one who did the job, was to infect the villagers with the system, was already in my hands. I just had to find out who else was involved and how much. It was like pulling a weed while being very careful not to break its roots. I announced that Keiichi Mayabara was one of the people who snuck into the shrine storage. I was certain of the fact that he was already spread throughout the underside of the village. In other words, Keiichi Mayabara was an object of the curse of Oshiro-sama now. Takano-san and Tomotage-san were found dead, having been killed in gruesome ways. That was the curse of Oshiro-sama. In that case, they could demon away 2 more people as a sacrifice to calm the anger of Oshiro-sama. The set date of the curse was already over. But, just like what happened to Satoshi-kun, demoning away was allowed a little extra time. Something would happen to Keiichi Mayabara within a few days. I'd wait patiently, careful not to let my enemies simply take Keiichi Mayabara away, my bait. Keiichi would have had to have been yelling on the other end of the phone for some time. He kept yelling that he didn't want to go into the ritual storehouse to begin with. He claimed he was simply invited by Takano-san and me. He shouldn't be in danger because of that, he said. He's feeling a sense of crisis and tension. This is going to work. The livelier the bait, the easier it is to spot. Why that shit?
Why the hell did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you gonna do? Damn it! How are you gonna take responsibility for this? Huh? Hey, are you listening?
Shut up, I've heard enough of your pitiful tears. I hung up the phone. There's no point in talking to him when he got like that. Besides, I had already achieved my goal, which was making him realize the danger awaiting him. I took a deep breath and called the house of the village chief. Hello? Kumiyoshi residence. This is Sonozaki. So? Did you find the mayor? Oh, it's you, Mion-chan. We've been calling everyone, but no luck. We can't find him. I don't know who else to call. I wonder where he is. We've called a few places too, but nothing. I talked to Granny and she said we should have the youth group go look for him. But this summer day? Besides, we aren't even sure if he's really missing. It's right after Watanagashi. She just thinks we should be cautious. If the youth group can't find him, then we'll call the police first thing in the morning. We'd rather not get the police involved unless we really have to, though. Did Onoryu's sound say that? Yes. If you don't believe me, I'll get her on the phone. Oh, no, I understand. Okay, we'll gather the youth group and go looking for him. If we can't find him, we'll call the police in the morning. Please call the leader of the youth group then. I'll be right over in Granny's place. Thank you. I'll get everyone together right away. Okay, see you later. The youth group had gathered at the Fudai Shrine. They're going to try and find the mayor. I also had to go in the absence of the hag. Just to be mean, I stopped by the underground torture room to let the mayor know that I was heading to the Fudai Shrine to search for him. Incidentally, according to the tab on the keychain, this underground torture room was actually called the underground storehouse for ritual implements. This is the man who was yelling that whoever trespassed in the ritual storehouse should be killed. Although it was an underground ritual storehouse, he was there now, atoning for what he had done. It's pretty ironic. Maybe I was the only one who felt that way, though. How are you doing, Uncle Kimiyoshi? Clink. Kimiyoshi didn't say a word, but he made a noise with the chain. Everyone is making such a fuss that they can't find you. Your family called me, so I suggested they gather the youth group to look for you. I'm heading over there now. Was this mean or what? Kimiyoshi could only make sounds with the chains. He couldn't even express any emotion other than anguish. Is the chain too short? Why don't I make it longer every time you give me an answer to a question? If it's even a little longer, you'll feel better. Oh. Kimiyoshi's hands were tied behind his back with a tight wire. He was wearing a leather collar with a chain which strapped tightly around his neck too. The chain's collar had a pulley attached to the ceiling, where the chain pulled him upward toward it. The chain was very short and it pulled very tight. Kimiyoshi had to stand on his tiptoes to be able to breathe. He had been like that for almost an hour already. He was already exhausted. If I left him overnight, he'd probably end up hanging himself. You told me earlier that you didn't know. I'll ask you one more time. Please tell me anything you know about Satoshi Hojo-kun. Oh, sorry. You can't even talk, can you? I'll loosen the chain a little bit while we chat then. Pulled the pulley just a little to loosen the chain that was pulling on Kimiyoshi's neck. Kimiyoshi's heels finally touched the ground. It's Trojan horse! No! Kimiyoshi's heels finally touched the ground, relieving the pressure on his muscles. I really don't know, Shion-chan. I really don't. Don't you even know if he's alive or dead? I really don't know anything. And I guess that's how curse systems of Hinamizawa work. It's possible you really don't know anything. Okay, then I'll change the question. As the head of the Kimiyoshi family, I would like you to tell me what you think has happened to Satoshi-kun. Is Satoshi-kun dead or alive? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say. If he said that he didn't know, I'd tighten the chain and leave the room. That would be like a death sentence for him. But all I said was that I wanted him to speak as the head of the Kimiyoshi family. I didn't ask him to tell him the truth, but he didn't know what to say to avoid souring my mood, and to get me to loosen the chain around him. He obviously trying to figure out how to make me extend the chain. I've heard a rumor that he may be alive. About him going to Tokyo on a bullet train, right? The police have seen him in Tokyo, or something like that. Oshii had told me that Satoshi-kun had been witnessed getting on a bullet train heading to Tokyo at Nagoya Station. But the police didn't know if that really happened, or what became of Satoshi-kun after that. Therefore, it's simply a random assertion of Kimiyoshi's. Hey, head of the Kimiyoshi family. What would be the point of letting one of the cursed family members live, after going through the trouble of making him disappear? I don't think there's any reason for that. Besides, who gave you this information? I was in close contact with Oshii for a while, but he never mentioned it to me. Uncle, if you're just saying that to make me happy, it's not going to work. You know that, don't you? I reached for the pulley controlling the chains around Kimiyoshi, and the act alone set him panicking as he feared them tightening once more. Sorry! I'm not trying to make you angry, Shio-chan. I'm sorry. I don't have time for this. I'm simply asking you to help me look for Satoshi-kun, that's all. I know that. I'll answer you. I took my hand off the pulley. Seeing that, Kimiyoshi began to loud groaning noises to try and show that he was thinking hard. Be frank with me. Do you think he's alive or dead? I think you shouldn't think he's alive. That figures. There's no point in letting him live, right? I agree with you. I really didn't mean anything too deep by it, but what I said truly scared Kimiyoshi. The police think he ran using the money he saved to buy Sadako's birthday present, because he was the main suspect of his aunt's murder. What do you think about that? Well, I heard the culprit was some kind of drug addict. What do you think about that? Maybe I shouldn't say this, but at least Satoshi-kun is the culprit. The drug addict was probably a decoy the hag arranged. I've suspected as much. The guy appeared out of nowhere. I didn't understand it at the time. So he was a decoy. I'm pretty sure. Why do you think that, though? The police were investigating the case, and Satoshi-kun was their primary suspect, wasn't he? If he was going to be demoned away, she wouldn't want the police to continue their investigation, I guess. What Kimiyoshi said is very interesting. He's perfectly correct. If the police continued their investigation, it would complicate things for whoever demoned away Satoshi-kun. Therefore, the hag came up with a decoy in order to bring an end to the investigation. But fabricating a suspect isn't that easy, don't you agree? The only person who can do things like that is Onryo-san. I knew the hag was very powerful on the underside of Hinamizawa, but I never knew she was that powerful. I'm sure you've heard quite a few rumors during the dam conflict. Didn't you also hear things directly? During the dam protests, I actually saw them issuing orders to my relatives, like, destroy their heavy machinery, or can we set up a checkpoint to blockade their construction vehicles? They set free their comrades from the police by coming up with alibis, destroying or forging evidence. I had seen relatives do those things, as well as a hag calling in
words.
Fuck it! To the house to protest. As a child, I was pretty interested. When I thought back, it was more than that. She was truly the mastermind who controlled the underside of the world. You've heard about the kidnapping case of the grandson of the Minister of Construction, right? So it really was a kidnapping, huh? I heard the grandson was demoned away and then found in the middle of the mountains in Takasudo or Yagouchi. That was an Onryu-san's command. The minister promised to stop the dam construction, and the grandson was released. All the top people in the ex-Guardians know that. I guess I was right in the middle of that when it was happening, but I didn't notice. The hag, the three families, the ex-Guardians are truly magnificent, huh? How terrifying. Kimiyoshi finally realized the situation he was in, and he was answering my questions. That made me happy, but the more Kimiyoshi told me the truth, the more I realized Satoshi-kun really was dead. That made me very sad. Who actually demoned away Satoshi-kun? I don't know. We were never asked who actually executed Onryo-san's orders. He was right. That was how the system worked. And so that was a bad question. Whoever it was did a great job, because his body was never found. That's not easy. Putting aside who actually killed him, it is possible that Onryo-san had helped get rid of the body. You know how about that zip fucking shit. I'm okay. You know about the well farther down from here, the one that used to dump bodies, don't you? Yes, I do. It's a lot safer to dump a body in the well than to bury it somewhere in the mountains. Whoever disappears becomes a sacrifice to calm the anger of Onryo-sama. That was the rule of this game. Therefore, the bodies must never be discovered. That's why the bodies had to be dumped somewhere nobody could find them. It's very possible that the well was used for that. Then, Satoshi-kun is at the bottom of that well? I grabbed the flashlight and headed to the huge cave with all the cells. As I turned the lights on in the cave, Mion noticed me and gave me a worried look. I ignored her and headed to the cell in the back. I was still very impressed at how well the well was hidden. It was almost artistic. I shone the flashlight at the bottom of the well. I had no way of knowing how deep the well was. The light of the flashlight wasn't strong enough to reach the bottom. I inhaled and screamed into the well. Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun's name echoed again and again. It's obviously a very deep well. I thought of climbing down using the wedges on the wall, but with the flashlight hanging from my neck, I couldn't light my footing properly. Even if there was enough lighting, I didn't even know if the wedges were sturdy enough. It'd be like committing suicide. Satoshi-kun was at the bottom of this well. That's when I felt it. A warm hand rubbed my head. For sure. Shion, you finally found me. Satoshi-kun, Satoshi-kun, Satoshi-kun! I've been looking for you for so long. I'm sorry I couldn't find you while you're still alive. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Shion. There's nothing you could have done before I was killed. But you did everything you could do after I died. Satoshi-kun, I wanted to join you. I'm coming right now. I'm going to jump, so please catch me. Satoshi-kun smiled bitterly. I was saddened to see him reject me. Shion, I'm happy you found me. But you are alive, Shion. It's so important to be alive, you can't waste it. If you aren't here, I don't want to live. I want to be with you, Satoshi-kun. I want to be close to you. I want you to rub my head again. I want to spend time with you. I'll be a good girl. I want to be with you. Live. Do I have to? Live, enjoy your life, okay? What's so fun about living alone? You'll find out. So long as you're alive. To live. I will live. I will live. The eerie well now felt warm. I wasn't allowed to go down to the bottom, but the edge of this well was the place where you and I could meet. So I feel it's important to mention he's not actually down there, but, you know.
Spoilers!
I mean, keep in mind, like, the only bones they found at the end of Keiichi's route, none of them mentioned that it was Satoshi.
That is true.
Mion, Satoshi-kun, I found him. He's at the bottom of the well, isn't he? I think so. I can't think of anywhere else he'd be. Mion started to sob. You weren't there when Satoshi-kun was killed, were you? No. If you were there, would you have begged the hag to forgive him? Yes. I would have begged her to let him live. Liar. Huh? You liar! On that day, a year ago, I had just recalled how cruel Mion was then, when she forced me to rip out my nails, acting as her role as the successor. Even if she was there when Satoshi-kun was killed, she wouldn't have stopped being the successor. Satoshi-kun was brought to the torture room, where he saw Mion. I'm sure he thought she would save him. Even as he heard the family head read out his death sentence, I'm sure he looked at Mion and believed that she would save him. He believed Mion would act that way only because she was with her relatives. He believed she would help him, but she didn't do anything. He was strapped to a restraining device, yet she still wouldn't do anything. Mion was cruel. Mion, wasn't it about time to help me? I see. I get it. You're with the rest of the family members, so you can't show even a hint of compassion. That sucks. Mm-hmm. Help him! Help him! Why? Why didn't you help him? You saw him looking at you, begging you to help him, didn't you? Why didn't you help him? Even if he was going through a rough time because of his awful aunt, you didn't help him! You pretended to sympathize, but you didn't help him. You ignored him. He was cornered because you didn't help him. I tried. I tried to support him. Even when you didn't protect him from killing his aunt, I did. I sacrificed myself to fight for him. 3 nails were nothing. But it wasn't enough to rescue Satoshi-kun. I couldn't help him. Do you know why? Because I was Shion then. As Shion, I was kept away from Hinamizawa and nobody told me anything. I couldn't know anything. But you were different. You were Mion. You were right in the middle of everything, and you knew everything, and everyone told you everything. If I were you, I would have helped Satoshi-kun. I would have. But you were Mion. Give it back, Mion. The name isn't just yours, it's mine too. Besides, it was mine to begin with, remember? I just let you be Mion, remember? It was mine. Give it back to me. Give me back my name. I can't stand that you even look like Mion. If I were Mion then... I kicked the bars. I kicked them again and again. Mion curled up fearfully in the back of the cell, as if she were trying to prevent the bars from crashing down onto her. This stream went way longer than I intended it to. I didn't realize that chapter would be that long.
Oops.
That went for a whole extra hour.
So I guess the rest of these tips and then that's it.
Yeah, tying your own noose. After that, I joined the youth group in the search for Kimiyoshi. I went down to town council's phone directory and called to see if he was visited. Then had the group split according to the circular notice divisions and sent them to search the town. Everybody seemed to be assuming that they wouldn't find him, but since I knew they definitely wouldn't, it was just bothersome to me. Even after midnight, they were still enthusiastically looking for him. I bore the sleepiness while yawning, and I heard somebody whisper, "Last year, they did the same thing when Satoshi-kun went missing." The youth group was looking for someone who would never be found, just like last year. I was yawning because I knew this. Last year, there had also been some people who were yawning and grinning on the inside. When did we stop searching last year? Do you remember? When Satoshi Hojo-kun was missing? Oh, what time was it? I guess it'd be around midnight. It's already 2 in the morning. Although they spent this much time searching for Kimiyoshi, they didn't do the same when Satoshi-kun was missing. After all, some people knew they wouldn't find him. They must have been sleepy. They must have said they should leave it to the police. I want to kill the people who said that.
Oh. So it really feels like she's just gonna try to murder the entire village.
The village is her enemy. How could such an innocent character get so much shit throughout the series? Because Mion isn't Mion. Because Mion is, the successor to the, to the Somozaki family. So she was doomed from the start. And with that, I'm going to call it a night, because I went way longer than I intended. Whoopsie daisy.
Oops.
So everyone have a good night. May the gentle music lull you to sleep and hopefully not give you nightmares.